Sunshine State. Well, it's going to be a soggy one in the 64th Capital One Bowl. Even the winningest coach in major college football history looking for a little reprieve from the weather. Do they have their games down pats? They hope so. LSU and Penn State. We know one thing. We've got a cat fight coming up. It's the Lions, the Tigers, New Year's. Oh, my. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC brings you the Capital One Bowl from Orlando. I'd like to be in the raincoat sales today, as a matter of fact. Les Miles brings his Tigers in from the SEC against Joe Paterno and the Nittany Lions of Penn State from the Big Ten. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Brad Nessel along with Todd Blackledge. It has been a good year for these two teams. LSU won 9, Penn State won 10. The problem is both losses for Penn State this year and 2 of the 3 losses for LSU came to teams that are in the BCS Bowl Championship Series. So they're looking for a really good win to end one year and begin the next.
You know, you have a good year by beating the teams you're supposed to beat. Right. To have a great year, you got to win at least one that going in is a bit of a toss-up. This game today is a toss-up. 2 very evenly matched teams. I kind of think sometimes the phrase signature win is overused, but it fits in this game. Right. Both teams with that opportunity, both teams would like to sign off on the 2009 season with a big win.
They're going to do it on a soggy field, let's put it that way. With more on that, third member of our team, Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, this field a big topic right now, guys. This turf was laid out about 3 weeks ago, and since then there's been 4 high school state championships, plus a bowl game that you guys work on Tuesday night. And from that game, huge story because chunks of this grass was coming up and out, and both of the teams had players that just noticed that. Well, today we've had a ton of rain for a couple of hours. This field is a mess. Not only is sod coming out, but there's also huge divots and huge chunks of the field coming up. I talked to head coach Les Miles about it, and he said, hey, it's an equalizer. We both have to deal with it. But guys, I want to tell you, we had a little pregame festivities out here. There's an area right in front of LSU's sideline where there was a big wagon. It has left a huge line of grass and dirt just missing.
It is definitely going to be interesting. Joe Paterno and Les Miles have their teams ready. We're almost ready for the kickoff, but right now let's go out to better weather. John Saunders at the Rose Bowl.
This is ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Moments ago, James Jackson with the Capital One Bowl. And Brian O'Kane, our referee, with the coin toss. LSU won the toss and deferred. Darrell Clark, the captain of the Nittany Lions offense, says the direction the Lions want to go with their first possession. Bear Bryant, 15 bowl victories in an illustrious career. But it, in comparison, pales to what Bobby Bowden has done. Bobby in his final bowl game today, and what Joe Paterno has done, the winningest bowl coach. Joe in his 36th bowl game, 23 victories in the previous 35 outings. When you consider that LSU is in its 41st bowl appearance as a team, Penn State in its 42nd, and that young man has been the head coach in 36 for Penn State.
Just turned 83 a couple weeks ago.
Just as sassy as he was about 40 years ago. He picked on both of us most of the week.
He did.
Yep. Here we go. 64th Capital One Bowl. The kick will go to Chaz Powell at the 10-yard line. Powell now close to the 30. Danny McCray brought him down on the special teams. So Darrell Clark, the co-most valuable player in the Big Ten, takes the reins, 2-time first-team all-conference.
Now, one thing about a wet field, as you get ready to watch the Penn State offense, and both these offenses like to throw the football, the rain has stopped, so throwing and catching shouldn't be a problem. But the wet field favors the offense because your receivers and backs are running forward, and defensive backs are going backwards and trying to change direction. So it shouldn't slow down the passing game of either team.
Powell will flush out of that Penn State backfield with Evan Royster there on the first play of the game. It's Darrell Clark Throws complete to Corliss, his tight end, and a pickup of about 6 for the 6'5" tight end of Penn State's. Let's take a look at the Nittany Lions offensively. Up front, Landolt, an all Big Ten performer. Pennell, Wisniewski, Eliades, and Pody. Backs and tight ends, Royster, Moy, Powell, and Zug, the 3 wideouts, and Corliss already has the opening catch of the ball game, good for 7. So it's 2nd down and 3. If you look behind Daryl Clark and the Penn State offense. In the gun.
Daryl Clark just saw the safety, the guy over the slot receiver, threatening blitz, changing the play at the line of scrimmage, and now has to call timeout. I don't know if he got the timeout in time or not.
I think he did. He just barely. LSU was looking for a penalty flag, thinking he had taken too much time. So Mike McQuarrie, former Penn State quarterback as well, over there talking to Joe Paterno. And Joe's not happy in the opening 54 seconds to have to take a timeout. Let's take a one at our Capital One impact players. Andrew Corliss already has the opening catch of the ball game, and he's got 34 on the year. Defensively for LSU, a couple of guys in the secondary. Not only are they big hitters, they're great cover men. Safety Chad Jones, second team SEC, as is Patrick Peterson, one of the top corners not only in the SEC but in all of college football.
Couple high-quality guys. I mean, Peterson, as far as a cover corner, I mean, there aren't any better that I've seen this year in college football. And Chad Jones, a very physical safety at 225 pounds, really loves the contact.
After the timeout, Clark comes back under center now on 2nd down and 3. Evan Royster weaves his way for a 1st down. Nice second effort to get the extra yard, and they'll move the sticks. LSU defensively. Up front, Alem and Woods, Alexander, and Pep Livingston. Linebackers a good group. Coleman, Shepard, Riley. Shepard will play all 3 linebacker positions through the course of the game. We already talked about the secondary a little bit with Peterson and Jones. Taylor and Hawkins join them back there. So Penn State's moved it to the 41-yard line on their opening possession. Royster, not much this time. Maybe got a couple. Stephen Green, excuse me, on the carry.
So far in this first defensive possession, and really kind of precipitated the timeout call by Daryl Clark. LSU showing a 3-man defensive front. Now they have 4 defensive linemen in, but Raheem Alem, number 84, is standing up as kind of like an outside linebacker. So an odd defensive front look here this first possession for LSU.
Green stays in at tailback. Chaz Powell with him, at least momentarily, in the backfield. And now Powell will flush out to the near side. On 2nd and 8, Clark throws in traffic and in and out of the hands of Derek Moy. Nice hit by Peterson to make sure he couldn't hold it.
Yeah, I think Derek Moy heard Patrick Peterson, because Patrick Peterson, it was a zone coverage, so the corner just rolled back and was there for the hit, and I think Moy didn't see him, but I think he heard it.
And he felt it.
Yeah, he felt it at the end. Yep.
3rd down and 8. Penn State was a 50% team on 3rd down conversions this year.
A real point of emphasis also in this bowl preparation, something they thought was very important against this LSU defense.
Clark asking for the snap. Has time. Good protection. Lost one, but it's over to the LSU bench. Incomplete. Graham Zug was the closest guy. So the Nittany Lions will have to kick it away. Special teams has been a problem for Penn State this year.
Well, and this is the one area where, coming into the game, LSU has a real edge. LSU and Trindon Holiday, the #1 ranked team in the country in punt returns. Penn State in net punting, 106th in the country. So this is something they have to do a great job of today.
We saw Holiday in the final regular season game, and that one's almost, it is partially blocked, and it's just going to splash down at the 34-yard line. Chad Jones came in and smothered that, or nearly smothered the punt. It's been a problem all year for Penn State. Their special teams not so special there. They did get it out of there, though, and LSU will be on offense when we come back.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Back in Orlando, let's take a look at our Capital One impact players. This guy, you give him a crease and he'll take it a mile. Trendon Holiday, fastest player in college football. Darren Odrick, Defensive Player of the Year for Penn State in the Big Ten. And behind him, Navarro Bowman, also a great one and a first-team All-Big Ten linebacker. LSU, after the 23-yard punt, the partially blocked punt by Chad Jones, starts at their own 34-yard line. Jordan Jefferson wants to go up on top. Got a man open, and the catch is made at the 49-yard line. Brandon LaFell, and LaFell down just to get that ball.
Now, big opening in between the linebacker and the defensive back. And LaFell does a nice job on a wet field to stop his momentum and come back for the football. And caught it right off his shoe tops.
Wow. That shows you right now the problem that everybody's going to have. But Todd mentioned the wide receivers making cuts. But he did plant himself enough to get the grab, a pickup of 18. And now it's Ridley, the tailback. And he burrows his way for a couple near the 45. Jordan Jefferson, he's had his moments where he's looked brilliant. He's had some shaky times during the course of the year.
Well, the good thing for Jordan Jefferson is he's healthy. I mean, he hurt his ankle in the Alabama game, didn't get to finish that game. It bothered him the rest of the season because you really don't get rid of that until you can take some significant time off. So he's healthier than he's been all season. And he's a very talented guy who, as you mentioned, had some ups and downs, but is on a pretty good roll right now.
Second down and 8. Nice play fake. The bootleg and the throw. Low and incomplete. Terrence Tolliver is the intended receiver.
Well, right away you see LSU trying to go to what is their strength, and that is this stable of wide receivers that they have. Big, rangy guys with good speed. They've got a bunch of them. And with their back, Ridley, I mean, he's their guy, but he's really their third or fourth tailback. So their strength is throwing the football to their wideouts.
You know, I know Les Miles told Aaron we both have to play in it, but this team is based on speed, and this track's not going to help it. Third down and 8. 3 wideouts in the tight end, and Jefferson's going to take off on his own, spinning his way down. Only got to the 42-yard line there. Picked up 5. And he'll be 3 or 4 yards shy of the first down.
Pretty good decision. Again, you know, when you're running straight ahead, you have a little bit of an advantage on wet turf as opposed to somebody that's trying to stop and change directions. But Navarro Bowman doesn't miss many tackles in space.
I think there was a little bit of hesitation right there because this is kind of no man's land. In this kind of turf, you're not going to kick a field goal. A punt, if something happens, might not net you much. I think Les thought about going for it right there.
He thought about it, but then this is the smarter decision. Try to pin him down with the punt and make Penn State go the long field.
Jasper the punt. Astorino back deep for Penn State. Snaps a little high, handles it well. Just kind of pooches it down there, and again, splash down at the 15-yard line. 26-yard kick. Darrell Clark and the Nittany Lions offense set to take the field for the second time when we come back.
ESPN's coverage of the Capital One Bowl on ABC, brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Cadillac. From our family to yours. Susan's best from Cadillac. And the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
No score here in the first quarter in Orlando. Let's take a look at the Florida Citrus Sports storylines. Big Ten against the SEC has been pretty even. Darrell Clark playing his final game, co-MVP of the Big Ten, as we mentioned. And Les Miles, he's been perfect as the head coach at LSU in his bowl games. First down, Nittany Lions from their own 15-yard line. Royster, nice run out across the 20 to the 21-yard line.
You know, Evan Royster is interesting to me. He is not flashy. He's not a real loud or demonstrative guy, but he is productive. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Right. He averaged almost 6 yards a carry this year, and he just finds ways. He kind of picks and feels his way through there. He's got good speed. He's got good ability to make people miss, but he's just very, very productive in a non-flashy way.
He got 6 on that last carry. 2nd down and 4. They'll try him again. This time, no good. Loss of 1, in fact.
Tell you what, Drake Nevis, when he comes to play, when he dials it up, he is as good as it gets at a defensive tackle spot. Now, you know, they've had great defensive tackles at LSU over the last several years, and he kind of fits that same mold physically. I just don't know if Drake has got to the point where he plays as hard as he can every play. But when he plays hard and when he gets after it, he is a load to block on the inside.
Junior out of Marrero, Louisiana. Dropping Royster for a loss, forces a 3rd down and 5. Clark has time in the pocket again. And a nice play in the secondary by Chad Jones.
Late flag.
Oh, the flag comes in. Wade Moore is the intended receiver. I thought he played it over the top pretty well.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
Brian O'Kane, our referee today.
Pass interference by the defense, number 3, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
LSU fans obviously don't like it.
Well, here we'll take a look at Chad Jones is right here, and he's going to read it, and the ball kind of hangs a little bit, and Jones comes in to make the play. There was a little contact, but I thought it was a pretty good play by Chad Jones.
So 1st down, Penn State, the 35-yard line.
1st and 10.
Clock rolls, gets it to Corliss, the tight end across the 40 and out to the 42-yard line. Another 7-yard pickup for Corliss. These teams have only met one time before. That was back in 1974 in the Orange Bowl. Joe Paterno was just a baby then, his 8th season as head coach. Some interesting plays in that game. Tom Schumann threw a long one to Chuck Hurd, a 72-yard play. John Cavalletti, there he is, going over for the touchdown. Chris Barr hit a couple of field goals, and that was all she wrote. 16-7 at the half. Penn State won it 16-9 to cap a perfect season at 12-0. The first 12-0 season that Joe Paterno had, and he's got a lot of them. Here comes an end around. Curtis Drake trying to put a fake on, and Chad Jones says, I've been penalized before, but you're not getting around me. Nice play by the big safety, 230-pounder. Talk about Joe having perfect seasons. And that one followed the Orange Bowl I was talking about, followed the 73 regular year. The 86 was the national championship.
Yeah, that was the only one that resulted in a national championship team. That 94 team was awfully good.
Oh, they were really good. And I did the Indiana game, Penn State. Penn State put a bunch of their backup players in. Indiana scored a bunch of points that made it look like it was a competitive game, and the style points went against Penn State, or they might have won a national title that year. Clark on the roll and the throw, and it's high. Intended for Zug and incomplete. Does it drive a quarterback crazy playing on this too? I mean, the football's never going to be in perfect shape.
Well, it does. I mean, the thing is, you can't let it get in your head. If you're throwing a wet football, you just got to adjust to it and say, okay, I'm going to throw a wet football. But if you go into it thinking, I hate throwing a wet football, then it gets in there and it's always in there. The one little practical thing you can do is keep your offhand, your left hand on that ball a little bit longer before you release it, just to secure it.
Boone's first punt was partially blocked by Chad Jones. He sets up the kick to Trindon Holiday. And this time he booms one. Holiday's got a back pedal, takes it on the fly at the 19. Puts down a divot. Oh, he almost got loose. He was heading this way, but Stephen Morris tripped him up. Solely leading the Pac-10 champion Ducks of Oregon against Terrell Pryor and the Buckeyes in the granddaddy of them all 2010 Rose Bowl game. Ohio State and Oregon coming up. Coverage starts at 4:30 this afternoon. John Saunders, Jesse Palmer will be out there to bring you the pregame action.
You know, one something that I would not be surprised to see LSU try to do. Right now, they've got 3 wide receivers and a tight end in that are all over 6'3". Throw the ball up down the field and let those guys try to make plays on the ball, almost like a jump ball on this wet surface. They've got athletic, big guys that can go up and fight for the football.
Jefferson low snap on the shotgun. Ridley trying to sneak through there, and he's done most of his yards almost being on his knees. He got 5 out to the 30. Ridley getting all the work because it's been a disaster for LSU with their tailback situation. Charles Scott broke his collarbone against Alabama. Richard Murphy hurt his knee against Vanderbilt. Keelan Williams broke an ankle against Ole Miss. So a guy that was basically 5th string back in the spring is the starter, and he's getting all the reps now. Here's the throw, and they try to throw into coverage, and that could have been Nick Soup for a touchdown the other way, but he couldn't hold it.
Yeah, Jordan Jefferson got forced out of the pocket, and when he got over to this side, there wasn't much room to throw it, and I'm not sure if he was thinking throw it away or what, but he got away with one there because Nick Suke was in great position for the interception.
So it's 3rd down, LSU. 3rd and 4. Jefferson, the slant. Did he catch it? Tolliver, incomplete.
Well, I think we're seeing both quarterbacks not really feeling too great about stepping into throws and setting their feet, and the ball is kind of going off target for him. Low and high.
You can see the frustration on his face.
And again, mentally, it's as important as physically. You got to just kind of figure, okay, you know what? It's going to be sloppy. I've got to make the adjustments with my feet and with my arm to throw under these conditions.
Behind Derek Helton, the punter for LSU. Kick sailing down to Justin Brown at the 35. Brown at midfield. Nice return into LSU territory.
Well, LSU did not have very good kick coverage down that side of the field, and he had a nice seam and a good solid return for Penn State out past the 50.
Welcome back to the 64th Capital One Bowl in Orlando. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Aaron Andrews with you. Penn State picked up some good yardage, 17 yards on that punt return, and over the course of 4 series now, we've had 4 punts, but they're gaining field position.
Well, they just gained 37 on those 2 possessions, so
whoops, fumble. Derek Clark got right back on top of it.
Make it 36 because they just lost one. You know, one thing Penn State has not done yet, and they're a pretty big screen team. They've not run a screen yet, and then really they're pretty good at it with both throwing to Royster or to their fullback Suey.
Joe's never been one to wear a hat or a cap, and on this day, his salt and pepper hair has got more pepper. That wet look, it's a good look for him. 2nd down and 11. High backfield this time. Here comes a blitz off the corner. They float it out to Zug. Zug gets decent yardage down to the 41-yard line before he's tackled. As we take a look at our DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam.
Well, we talked about the screens. This is not a screen to a back. It's a screen to a wide receiver. And what you have to have is the other guy blocking. And Derek Moy, number 6, gets a nice block out there on Brandon Taylor, the safety, and just enough to get a positive gain out of the play for Zug.
3rd down. 3rd and short. Again, LSU's going to bring extra pressure. Clark's got time. Almost intercepted. Harry Coleman, he's still running the other direction. He just didn't take the football with him.
See, Harry Coleman's kind of an interesting player. He's a linebacker, but he's only 6'2", 205 pounds, so he's really a safety, and he's in man coverage on the tight end Schuler and plays it perfectly. Schuler drifts away from the ball, and Coleman slips right underneath him, and we've seen a couple players already on both teams miss pretty sure interceptions.
Boone to punt this time. Chad Jones is back instead of Holiday, but Jones is an excellent punt returner as well. He won't get a chance at this one. It almost died at the 1-foot line, but it made it to the end zone. Touchback, 41-yard kick.
Will be brought out to the 20.
And that'll bring it out for LSU to the 20-yard line. Well, from coast to coast, now you can get the latest news on the teams you care about the most. The power of ESPN covering the Boston, Chicago, Dallas, and now Los Angeles sports scenes, news, opinion, and a special sports center just for your city. The inside info you're accustomed to now with a local flavor. ESPN LosAngeles.com, Chicago.com, Boston.com, and Dallas.com. Brand new coach since we've seen LSU. Billy Gonzalez, one of the new coaches that's joined the staff just since the end of the regular season. Wrigley back to the line of scrimmage. That's it.
It's kind of unusual because we had LSU against Arkansas in the last game of the regular season. The guy in the gray jacket right there is Billy Gonzalez, the new wide receiver coach. He came from Florida, and he's known Gary Croton, the offensive coordinator, for a long time. They go back to when Gonzalez was in Utah, and he's been a good hire. I mean, they kind of locked themselves in a room for 3 days, went through the whole passing game, kind of renamed some of the pass routes, and Gonzalez jumped in with both feet coaching.
Brendan Holiday joins Jordan Jefferson in the backfield for LSU on second and 10. And here is Holiday, and Penn State's waiting for him. Sean Lee knew exactly where number 8 was. Frank Wilson, by the way, is the other new coach. We mentioned, too, the running backs and recruiting coordinator now, coming from Tennessee. Speaking of running backs, Brendan Holiday doesn't carry it that often. Sometimes he's hard to find, but Sean Lee knew where he was. Josh Hall knew where he was.
Yeah, lined up right in the middle and just tracked him down. Took a nice angle to the football, and before Holiday could get to the perimeter and pick up speed, Hall got him in the backfield.
So it's 3rd and 10. Jefferson pressure. Trying to buy himself some time, and he's just going to take it out at the line of scrimmage, maybe a loss of a yard.
Well, Navarro Bowman, who is probably the most athletic of this Penn State linebacker core, number 11, was coming on a pass rush. He timed it up perfectly. Watch him come to the end of the line of scrimmage, working on Saron Black, and he forces Jefferson to leave the pocket. And then once Jordan got out there, he had nowhere to go with the football down the field. And another LSU punt.
So a battle of punts. 2 safety men back for Penn State. Justin Brown and Drew Astorino. It was Brown that got the nice return last time. High snap. Felton kicks it away. Whoa! Fumble. Ball's loose. Penn State, I think Astorino got back on top of it. Perfectly timed hit to force the football out. People are just trying to clear the mud out of their face at this point. Great hit by Francois and McCray on the special teams, but Penn State's able to cover it anyway. And again, they've got good starting field position at roughly the 42-yard line. We're going to have to use the sidelines pretty soon to determine what the yard line is, because in the middle of the field, we're not going to have many for very long. Derek Clark lofts one out. Dropped by Moy. Finally got a man wide open, and Moy let it slip away.
Yeah, this was a great read by Darrell. He saw what amounts to cover 2. So there's a short corner and a deep safety, and right in between the two, there's a hole to throw the football. And Darrell put the ball in the exact right spot, and Moy took his eye off of it at the last minute, and it results in an incompletion. But that's the right read and the right spot for the ball, just the wrong result.
So really, the only guy that's been consistent has been Corliss so far as a receiver. He's held on to the ones that Clark's aimed at him. Oh my gosh, what was that?
See, here's the other thing. When it's wet and sloppy, every snap is an issue.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about a snap from center to the quarterback, whether it's a shotgun snap or a punt snap, every single one becomes a very serious matter. And you know, on great surfaces and great weather, it's almost something you take for granted. This was not a good snap. It was bobbled. It was up in the air. It landed on the back of a lineman, and somehow Darrell Clark came down with it. But every single snap is an issue.
Wisniewski will get over that pile of mud with a 3rd and 10 at the 42.
Picked up the blitz.
Clark, high throw, but Zug got it. There's a good catch. The first down, Penn State. Pick up a 21 on 3rd and 10.
LSU is a pretty high percentage blitz man-to-man coverage team, and they're going to bring pressure. Watch all these guys get picked up by Penn State, which leaves single coverage in the back end. And Daryl Clark hits it right in that seam. Brandon Taylor, number 15, was kind of going for the knockout hit and missed. And that enabled Zug to come down clean with the catch and get the first down.
At the 37-yard line of LSU. Green back in the backfield behind Clark. They fake it to him. Clark. Gonna go long. Got a man. Touchdown. Derek Moore held on to that one. Touchdown, and Penn State takes the lead. Well, what looked like a drive that was going to stall way back in the mud on that side of the field in 2 pass plays has Penn State in the end zone. Wagner in for the point after, and it's good.
Well, watch the play by Joe Suey, the sophomore fullback whose dad was a great running back at Penn State during his day.
Let's take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam, Todd.
Watch Suey come across and lead on this bootleg and just try to stay in the way of Raheem Alem. I mean, he doesn't get a great block, but enough to get Daryl Clark to the edge to make the throw to Moore. If Joe Suey doesn't make that block, Penn State doesn't get this play off.
And you see, nice stutter step to get around Peters.
See, with a great corner like Peterson, double moves can work. He wants to go for the big play. He wants to go for the interception. A nice route by Derek Moy on their best corner.
We've talked to some coaches this year that say as great as Peterson is as a cover corner, sometimes he bites because he's thinking about taking it the other way, and that time he bit on that little stutter step. And it's a 37-yard touchdown to cap a 58-yard drive in just 4 plays. Jefferson will have his hands back on it after Trindon Holiday trots back with Ron Brooks for the kick return. Wagner to kick. High, short. Taken at the 32, and look out, Kelvin Shepard. The linebacker takes it into Penn State territory. Shepard. Well, that's the problem with short kicks, trying to keep it away from somebody like Holiday. Don't forget there's some athletes up there that can take it from the short part of the field and do this.
Yeah, when you talk about special teams and how does one guy affect the whole game, he doesn't have to touch it to affect it. Because when, just like you said, Brad, if you try to keep him from touching it, sometimes you put yourself in a difficult position. And Shepard is the aggressor once he catches it to advance the football. So now LSU with excellent field position out past the 50.
Jefferson in the shotgun. On first down. A little bit of option. Jefferson just keeps it though. And stopped at about the line of scrimmage by Josh Harligan. Well, Thursday, January 7th, ABC delivers number 1 against number 2 in the BCS National Championship game. Colt McCoy and the Longhorns taking on Mark Ingram, the Heisman Trophy winner, and the Crimson Tide of top-ranked Alabama. BCS National Championship game on ABC Thursday, January 7th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Here we got 1:20 left in the Capital One Bowl's first quarter with Penn State leading by a score. Jefferson, quick throw and too low, intended for LaFell. And a little wide out screen, wanted to get it out there and have Terrence Tolliver be his lead blocker. Didn't work out.
And that's the kind of play LSU has to hit in this game, because Penn State's defense is solid. They don't get out of position. They tackle well. But where LSU can have an advantage is if they get the ball out in space to some of those wide receivers. But Jefferson has to get it to them in a position where they can catch it, see the field, and then run after the catch.
Now Holiday goes out as a fourth wide receiver up to the top of your screen. You can barely see him. On 3rd and 10. Jefferson throws underneath. LaFell's got it. He's off to the races. Brandon LaFell to the 10. Navarro Bowman tracked him down, or he would have had a touchdown.
Now, and again, this was another low throw by Jordan Jefferson, but for the second time in the game, LaFell is able to catch that football right off the top of his shoes and then elude some tacklers to gain extra yardage. Watch the throw. It's low. LaFell waits on it, goes down, and makes the catch, and then is able to break one tackle from Lynn and turn it into a big game.
Like he's trying to do one of those dig things in a sandpit playing volleyball. 1st and 10 at the 11. Aimed around. Trendon Holiday. Nope. Loss of about 4. Navarro Bowman again. He's made 2 big tackles now. One that saved a touchdown and one that dropped Trendon Holiday for a 4-yard loss. Penn State's red zone defense, their entire defense has been good. Doesn't really matter where they are on the field.
Well, they were the top team in the Big Ten in points allowed, 4th in the nation in scoring defense. The most they gave up was 24 to Ohio State. Very stingy defense.
2nd down and 14 at the 15. They get a first down at about the 1. And they're going the wrong way, though. Another loss of 1. Devin Still made the stop. That ends our first quarter with Penn State leading 7-0. This presentation, the Capital One Bowl, will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
You don't never be from nobody else. All you got to do now. Express whatever you do.
Back in the Capital One Bowl in Orlando, starting the second quarter. For Todd Blackledge and Aaron Andrews, I'm Brad Nessler. Happy New Year. LSU's got a 3rd and long here. They trying to get it down to the 1-yard line or the goal line. 4 wideouts and a tight end for Jordan Jefferson. Fires it. Complete inside the 10 to Tolliver, but he won't get to the end zone.
And that's vintage Penn State defense right there. Zone, make you throw underneath, and then make a sure tackle, Sean Lee, short of the first down. That's the 3rd time in the game that LSU has had 3rd and 10 or more. It's a good throw, a good catch, but a good tackle by Sean Lee forces the field goal.
Josh Jasper's been good this year. He's only missed 3. It's the plant foot that probably is the problem on this surface. It's a 25-yard field goal attempt to try to put LSU on the board. Kick on the way, and it's perfect. So LSU has to settle for 3, but they'll take it, says Les Miles. 1 play, 2 plays into the second quarter. 7-3 Penn State. Of the last 30 years, the Buffalo Wild Wings will be revealed in the Rose Bowl coming up later today. 7-3, Penn State leads LSU. If you're just joining us, we don't have the greatest field conditions, but the Florida Citrus sports folks are putting in synthetic turf next year at the tune of about $1.6 million, so this won't happen again. And this is a field that's heavily used by a lot of high school games, that type of thing. If you didn't join us for the Champs Sports Bowl the other night, they had resurfaced before that game. The problem is it's been so wet and cold in Florida that the sod basically didn't have a chance for the root system to take, and that's why we've got what you're looking at right now, for lack of a better term. At the 13-yard line, Chaz Powell, and he just fell on his own down to his knee, trying to make a cut at the 25-yard line. Let's check in with Aaron.
Hey, Brad. Well, here's the guy, James Jackson, the Executive Vice President of Capital One Bank. We spent some time with him last night. A Georgia. I know you're a proud Georgia grad. But why has Capital One decided just to take a huge role in college football?
Well, we're so proud to be a part of this winning tradition, and this bowl is so important to us because it represents two powerhouse conferences, both the SEC and the Big Ten. But I tell you, Aaron, most importantly, we're proud of the fact that the proceeds go to the Florida Sports Foundation, and with them, we share a common mission to support disadvantaged youth, and that is to help all of us build a foundation for the children.
Great job. Thanks so much. We were breaking it down last night, Brad. Who's Georgia going to go with the new defensive coordinator? What's Florida going to do? He and I had a good SEC chat. Thanks so much.
Well, you know, speaking of that, there's been talk about John Chavis, the defensive coordinator of LSU, that maybe he would go and join Mark Richt in Athens. And John told us unequivocally yesterday, Todd and I will be back at LSU as defensive coordinator next year. So he put that squash to those rumors pretty directly with us yesterday. Clark is an excellent runner. He's got a first down at the 40-yard line.
I thought it was interesting because Joe Paterno talked about Daryl Clark running. He said because he wasn't confident with what was behind Daryl Clark, he said to Jay, his son, I don't want him running at all until the last game.
Right.
The last football game, the fourth quarter, the last game, he can run. Until then, no. And so this is the last game for Daryl Clark, and it was a good run.
Yeah, it was. First down at the 40-yard line. Wanted to show you this. This is what LSU did. This is a normal molded cleat that they would wear on a regular surface. And they went to their shoe supplier, and I think you can see who that is, and we'll show you in a second, as Royster. And I'm sure Penn State has done the same thing. After the Champs Sports Bowl the other night, they saw that the turf was a problem. So this is what LSU went to.
Yeah, this is a replaceable cleat. A little wider, has a little better grip on this kind of a surface. So they had them FedExed a bunch of pair for their players, and all the skilled players for LSU made the switch. So you look for anything that can give you an edge, anything that can give you a little confidence. And by golly, it looks like the sun's trying to find its way out here right now.
That would be nice. Second down and 7. Penn State with a 7-3 lead. Clark, quick drop. Lobs one. Oh! Should have been intercepted and taken the other way by Danny McCray. We've seen that happen so many times, and I think you're right. It's in everybody's head. Even though that ball is wet, that one hit him right in the chest, and he should have had it.
Well, and again, you know, you go back to a point, I don't know if it was Vince Lombardi or who, there's a reason why some guys play defense and some guys play offense. We've seen 3 or 4 defenders in this game blow easy interception opportunities.
That's at least the third one.
Yeah.
Yep. Third down and 7. I think you're right. We're going to have to get the suntan lotion out soon. Clark rolls to throw. Fires. Well, Zug made a great attempt, but he couldn't hang on. One-handed grab, flying out of bounds.
When you're a quarterback rolling out and you're throwing to a moving receiver, you really don't have to put too much lead on the football. You kind of throw it right at the receiver because your momentum's going that way as well. Just a hair or two much outside on that throw by Daryl, and Zug not able to bring it in.
So fourth down at Penn State, hesitating a little bit. Finally now, Jeremy Boone does come out to punt.
Tom Bradley's defense is playing well in the ball game. They gave up the big third down pass in the last possession, but other than that, they've pretty much handled and kept under control this LSU offense. So this is the smart play. Try to pin them down.
Flags down, delay a game.
5-yard penalty. Remains fourth down.
Give Boone a little more room to try to punch one down there. And LSU.
Les didn't want to take the penalty. So I think they assumed they were taking. I think they're going to put it back and make Boone punt from the same spot.
LSU has chosen to decline the distance penalty. It will be fourth down at the previous spot.
So Boone's still going to kick it no matter where it's from. He'll be kicking right around the 50-yard line. Chad Jones again back deep. Jones 6'3", 230-some pounds, but don't let that fool you. He had a 93-yard punt return for a touchdown against Mississippi State earlier this year. And landed at the 4 and got to the end zone. So we'll bring it out to the 20 with 12:09 remaining first half of the 64th Capital One Bowl. 7-3 Nittany Lions.
ESPN's coverage of the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Nissan's A to Z year-end sales event going on now. Get to a Nissan dealer today. Microsoft. Your Windows stuff goes where you go. New Windows Phone. And Allstate, proud sponsors of college football. Are you in good hands?
LSU Tigers and the Nittany Lions of Penn State in the Capital One Bowl. Happy New Year, everybody. 7-3, 12:09 remaining first half. George Jefferson and the Tiger offense working from the 20-yard line.
It's a little pistol formation for LSU.
Ridley, and it's been tough sledding for Ridley. 80 a yard. ABC Thursday, January 21st. 5 of the nation's brightest young lawyers will discover the real world requires more than a degree. ABC's The Deep End new series premiere Thursday, January 21st at 8, 7 Central on ABC. The deep end of that end of the field.
Well, that was a great defensive play by Jared Odrick, the defensive tackle, who's now lined up as a defensive end on this play. He's very versatile, can move around.
Flags down, and they'll whistle this one dead.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 65 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
He's lined up on Odrick, Lyle hit. And Odrick, you know, we've seen and everybody's talked about Ndamukong Suh of Nebraska and what a great defensive tackle he is. I'm not saying this guy's as good as Suh, but he is right in that same caliber. I mean, he is an outstanding defensive tackle, all Big Ten performer, very dominant player on the inside.
Jefferson fires across the middle, but it's just across the original line of scrimmage at about the 21-yard line. Odrick, the 80th first-team All-American at Penn State, the 77th first-team All-American under Joe Paterno. And he was, as you said, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And that's the first time a lineman's won that since Big Danny Dan Wilkinson did it back in the day. So it's usually a linebacker or maybe a defensive back, but he is a special player.
Yeah, and he's versatile because he's 6'5", 296. He's got long arms. He's rangy. He can play anywhere on that defensive front.
They're down 9 for Jefferson. Flushed out of the pocket. Going to try to get to the sticks. Boy, dive in the tents in front of Bowman. I think he's about a yard shy, but it was a great effort.
Now watch the pressure from Ali Agbu is going to force him out of the pocket. There's 85, forces him out. Now Ridley tries to get a block on Bowman, but he doesn't stay on the block, and that enables Bowman to get off of it and knock Jefferson out of bounds before he got to that marker.
Showed not only Bowman's strength, but the speed that he has, because Jefferson's not slow. Helton to punt.
Well, you can tell the guys who haven't been in the game much either. I mean, take a look. You got 11 guys for Penn State on the field, and 10 of them have dirty pants, and one guy, Stephon Morris, number 12, has clean pants.
5-yard penalty.
Penalty marker down.
They look cleaner up here than they actually are.
Yeah.
He has run a little bit out.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, that could have been running out of the tunnel, too. Getting to the sideline.
It was really rated before the game. Well, apparently they picked up the penalty flag.
Penn State it just feels like they've had the field position edge this entire first half, but only a 7-3 lead.
This punt just got lazy in midair. And that bounces down to about the 45-yard line. 31-yard kick. 10:03 remaining first half. Penn State with a 7-3 lead. Back at the 64th Capital One Bowl. Our DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam giving us some of the splashdowns, some of the turf turns. Watch this one, Trindon Holiday. That divot was almost as big as Trindon himself. 7-3 Penn State leads LSU.
It seems like the guy who is the biggest matchup problem for LSU on this Penn State offense is the tight end, Andrew Corliss. He's had 2 catches in the ball game, and he's over on the top of the left.
Straight ahead goes Joe Suey for 5.
You know, Corliss is a guy who earlier on in his career, he's always had a lot of talent, always had a lot of potential, didn't always do things the right way, or at least Joe's way, you know, and that is the right way at Penn State, and there is no other way. And so he spent some time in and out of Coach Paterno's doghouse, but this year, this summer, the light went on for him. He made a tremendous turnaround and a commitment on and off the field, and he's had an outstanding season as a senior.
Yep. Everybody on the Penn State staff proud of how he's turned things around again. Darryl Clark's got to go down as the snap really never got to him.
Second one we've seen. Exchange between Stefan Wisniewski and Darryl Clark. Stefan Wisniewski was a guard last year, moved to center this year. I played with his dad. Leo was an outstanding nose tackle, and then Leo's brother Steve was one of the best linemen that offensive lineman ever played at Penn State.
It's a lot of that family stuff we talked about. Yeah. Joe Suey carrying on the previous play, and of course his dad was a great one, and his grandfather, great-grandfather, was the second All-American ever at Penn State.
On the offense, that penalty is declined. 3rd down.
So they declined a penalty, brings up 3rd down. And Wisniewski said it was a harder adjustment than he thought it was going to be, moving from guard to center. I would think so. I mean, you know, first of all, you got to get the snap as quick as you can, and then already your guy's on you. You don't have the luxury of having your hand down and immediately going into the body of the defensive lineman. 3rd and long for Darryl Clark. Throws on a crossing pattern to Corliss. There's the mismatch Todd talked about. And he's out of bounds at the 29-yard line with another 1st down. 4th catch of the day for Corliss, and the 83rd of his career. You talk about numbers, he's only 3 catches shy, and he might end up with them in this game of equaling what Ted Kwolek did back in the day at Penn State.
Well, the thing that makes him so difficult to cover is he's big, you know, at 6'5", 250, but he runs like a wide receiver. He's got that kind of ability in the open field to catch and then run after the catch. And so he is a very talented guy that's difficult to match up, whether you choose a safety or a linebacker to try to cover it.
1st down, Nittany Lions, the LSU 28-yard line. Clark to throw on 1st down. And nice job defensively by Danny McCray to knock it down.
That time they double covered Corliss. I think they were guessing that Darryl Clark was going back his way. I think Darryl was looking for Corliss first, but they stopped him at the line of scrimmage with 2 defenders, and Darryl had to go somewhere else with the football.
And he tried to get it to Evan Royster. Incomplete, so it's 2nd down at 10. Boyd's got the only touchdown. He's down to the bottom of your screen. There's Corliss, you see in motion behind Clark. Corliss to the 25, pickup of about 3. That was a little bit of a tight end screen there, it looked to be.
Yeah, Aguilardi made a nice play on this. He read the screen, kind of felt it coming, got off of his block, and then was able to tackle Corliss from behind. A little tight end screen. Finding ways to get the ball in the hands of one of your best playmakers.
Corliss getting a breather. Mickey Schuler will come in to take his spot at tight end. On 3rd and 7. Curtis Drake, the extra wide receiver, at the bottom of your screen. Clark looking the other way, goes complete. 1st down for Derek Moy again. So Moy, who dropped one that he should have had early in the ball game, now has a couple of clutch catches. One for a touchdown, and that one I thought was going to be for a 1st down, but the spot's not very good.
Well, you saw Peterson trying to communicate kind of late
play and didn't get out in position in time. I thought it was a catch for a first down as well. I thought he had it clean, and the spot now appears to be a little bit short.
Well, I think Joe is saying what we're saying, actually, to the referee. His foot was across our yellow line and at what appeared to be the 18-yard line, and you can see where it's spotted closer to the 19. Okay, well, you see where that is, and you see where the marker is. Joe's not happy, but I think he's got due cause. Watch it one more time.
Right there, it's a first down.
It's a first down by a yard.
And he's not necessarily fighting to gain extra yardage, and Peterson takes him back, and it probably should have been spotted beyond that first down. Now, here's a fourth.
The ruling on the field, a forward progress relative to a first down is under further review.
All right. Well, that's good. They're going to take a look at it and see if they see what we think we saw. We'll find out when we come back.
After further review, it was determined that the runner's forward progress was at the 17-yard line, resulting in a first down.
Good job, fellas. That's why we have replay. First down, Penn State. So their drive stays alive.
Now what? Again, I go back to that play. Part of the reason it was so open for Darryl Clark, Patrick Peterson and Brandon Taylor were kind of talking about coverage when the ball was snapped, and Peterson was too far inside to stop that out route. He did make the tackle, but watch, these two guys are communicating, then the ball snapped, and by the time Peterson got into position, it was already a completed pass.
Now they're up to the ball. 7th play of the drive, longest drive by either team today. Zug, the motion man, as Clark on play action, wants to throw and does. High and incomplete, intended for Moy. And he was open, but the throw was errant at about the 6-yard line. So Penn State will reload with a 2nd and 10. Clark 9 of 18.
Yeah.
Touchdown pass so far.
See, now, you know, with the weather in the field, I mean, it's no longer rainy, so the ball should be relatively dry, but the field is still loose. And so as a quarterback, when you plant the throw, you just got to keep your feet and your balance under you. Maybe a shorter stride will help you in these kind of conditions.
Wallace has been his #1 target. This is Green on the ground, and Stephen Green down to the 10-yard line, about 2 yards shy. The first down as we check in with EA.
We were talking about this on the car ride over here. Darryl Clark and the subject of his legacy. You know, people saying how he hasn't really won the big one. And he actually, you know, talked about that during the past couple weeks out here in Orlando, saying, you know, people are saying I have to win this. This has to be a significant win for me. And he addressed it by saying, we're not playing this game for me. We're playing this game for Penn State. That's how I want to leave it. Todd, love to know how you think about it.
Well, I'll get into it after this play. We'll see what he does here on this big 3rd down play.
He's going to run it, and he's not going to get there. About 1.5 yards shy.
I mean, obviously, a quarterback ultimately is judged by being a winner. You know, not necessarily by stats and by yards, and he's thrown for a lot of yards and broken a lot of records at Penn State. But you're also the leader of the team, and winning big games and ultimately winning championships is what it comes down to. But it's not all the quarterback. I mean, Darryl Clark this year, you know, he lost all 3 starting wideouts that he had a year ago, and you had a new, relatively inexperienced offensive line, particularly on the inside, your center and guards. And the offensive line was really the biggest issue this year.
Colin Wagner, 26-yard field goal is perfect. So they didn't get the touchdown, but Darryl says, we'll take that 3. And it's 10-3. Penn State extends its lead. So Penn State extends its lead here in the Capital One Bowl. 10-3, a 46-yard drive, 10 plays, a little over 4.5 minutes, and got the field goal. Darryl Clark talking about him. You know, he's 21-4 as a starter.
I know.
And I know some of the big games, people say, well, he didn't win those. But when he walked out of our meeting the other day, he had to go address the rest of the media, I guess I should put it that way. And he wears glasses when he's not playing football. And he kind of rolled his eyes under the glasses and he said, I guess I have to go talk about my legacy some more. And you can tell he's uncomfortable with that. Yeah.
Well, and again, you're right. 21-4. I think he's done a tremendous job, and it's not just him. You know, he didn't play well in the Ohio State and Iowa game, but you know what? He didn't play well because his offensive line didn't play well.
A lot of people didn't play well against Iowa and Penn State.
That's exactly right. That's why they're both playing in BCS polls.
Yeah. So Wagner's going to try it again.
And one final point. If he doesn't play as well as he does through the course of the year, they don't win 10 games and they're not here.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it was Darryl Clark in the passing game and Evan Royster that got Penn State to this game.
Line drive kickoff. It'll be scooped up by Ron Brooks. Brooks tried to cut at the 32 and dug himself a hole. Did get out close to the 34-yard line, however. 17-yard kick return as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary so far. This one through a quarter and a half. Darryl Clark hooks up with Derek Moore. 37-yard touchdown catch. That opened our scoring. His 24th touchdown pass of the year. 65th touchdown he's accounted for in his Penn State career. And the Nittany Lion defense, as it's been all year, very, very stingy. And Jordan Jefferson's had a hard time finding his footing, no pun intended, as far as running the show for the Tigers of LSU. Here he comes again, and this throws behind his intended receiver. Flags fly in the secondary.
Well, LSU has got to try to find something that they can get a little momentum going offensively. And this has been their problem all year. I mean, coming into the game tonight, 108th in the country in total offense, only averaging 310 yards per game. Part of that is...
There is no foul for offensive pass interference as the pass was tipped.
Part of that is the youth and the growing and development of Jordan Jefferson as you see the ball tipped by Still at the line of scrimmage. And part of it, I think, is the offensive line has just not been as a dominant group as some LSU offensive lines have been in the past. Right. And the injuries to the tailback position. But when they've played good defenses, the really good defenses, Florida, Alabama, Ole Miss, and now Penn State, they've struggled.
Jefferson, flags are down to the backfield, probably a holding call, and then he tries to get rid of it. Another flag where it might be intentional grounding as Irick was getting to him. This is going to be interesting.
I didn't know referees had two flags because he reached in his pocket and threw one for holding.
There's that one.
And then reached in his pocket and threw one for that one too.
Brian O'Kane is a double flag man.
Yeah.
I love that.
I've never seen that.
Our referee is the flag master today.
Holding, number 70 on the offense. That penalty is declined. Intentional grounding, number 9 on the offense. Penalty is accepted. Loss of down at the spot of the pass.
There you go.
Second down.
See, the reason why you take that penalty over the holding, they're both big penalties, but the loss of down.
Yeah.
So you take the intentional grounding.
There's Brian's first one. Now, wait a minute. Where's he going to go for that reserve? He digs just a little deeper, same pocket. That was great. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That is called being prepared.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Third down and a couple of miles for LSU. Jefferson's got time, and he's aired it long. And it is almost caught. And it would have been a touchdown for Randall. Oh, man, what a series that was.
Wow. LSU's thinking, you know what, let's just throw it. Let's take a shot. We got big, tall receivers. This one went from almost intercepted to almost touchdown for LSU to just another punt.
Yeah. And that's the other thing they're thinking as well is if that would have been intercepted, it probably would have been as good as this punt that's coming up from Helton. 4th 3 and out for the Tigers. This one could be returnable. Line drive at the 49, Justin Brown, but Justin couldn't find his footing either to try to get a punt return going. Although Penn State will start in LSU territory. The 10-2 season for Penn State, well, it started off at 3-0. Then came a block punt that ended up in a touchdown and a loss to Iowa 21-10. And they won their next 5. And still, with just one loss, they had hope for the Rose Bowl, but a 24-7 loss to Ohio State. Third 10-win season in the last 5 years, however, for Joe Pop. And back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time since the 93 and 94 teams did it.
Just 4 or 5 years ago, they didn't think Coach Paterno could get it done anymore. And there were some people that wanted him to go a different direction at Penn State. And he said, you know what? We're just a couple players away.
Ironically enough, Bobby Bowden coaching in his final game, the same theory in Tallahassee, and he talked with us about Joe.
I've said this before, and I'll say it truthfully. I think when Joe hangs it up, that the overall vote will say he's the greatest football coach ever. And I'm saying that after I loved a lot of guys like Bear Bryant, who I still do. But Joe, gosh, 50-something years at the same school, coached as long as he did, win more games than anybody else.
The 60th year Joe Paterno's been on this staff, 44th as head coach. And Bobby, we know you're playing in your final game right now, too. We will miss you more than you know.
Well, this was another one of those almost plays for LSU. And Charles Alexander got good pressure on Darrell Clark. Watch Alexander force the high throw from Clark. It goes over the receiver's head, and Patrick Peterson not able to come down with the interception.
Peterson's had a couple of misfires today. He's been beaten for a touchdown. You saw that confusion you showed when you telestrated those guys. I still have a feeling somewhere along the line number 7 is going to make a play, and we're going to go, that's why he's so good. 3rd and 11. Clark's going to loft one long for Moy. Tips. Chad Jones almost got that one.
See, I like the call, though. I mean, it's incomplete. It almost intercepted. But on this kind of a field, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, Derek Moy is 6'5". So you throw it up there, and you say, go up to the top of your jump and see if you can make a play. Now, it's well played by Chad Jones, but that's a pretty good percentage play on this kind of field.
Jeremy Boone to punt.
Brendan Holiday back deep to receive for LSU.
So another drive that Penn State started actually on the LSU side of the 50, but stalled, and now Boone picks it all the way to the end zone again. Well, Disney parks want to inspire 1 million people to volunteer a day of service in their communities with Give a Day, Get a Disney Day. In 2010, Disney parks will give a one-day admission to a Disneyland resort or Walt Disney World Resort theme park free to people who perform volunteer service at a participating organization. For details, go to DisneyParks.com. In the land of Disney, Orlando, Brad Nessler, Todd Lockwood, Jaron Andrews, and some soggy LSU and Penn State fans. Rain has stopped again for the most part, but as you can tell, the field has been a little bit of a problem for both teams. Jordan Jefferson, quick fire, in and out, and intercepted. Picked off by A.J. Wallace.
You can't fault Jordan Jefferson on that one. That was a good throw, and it was mishandled by Tolliver. And finally, a defensive back on one of these teams is able to hang on to a football. Good throw. Lack of concentration by Tolliver. And great field position for Penn State with 3:48 left in the half.
For A.J. Wallace, I'm not sure that's not the best catch of the day so far.
I just want to add on the whole lack of concentration. You know, I've been watching the offense, and they look like they've just been going through the motions. Now, LSU's defensive line, they heard it from their positions coach, Brick Haley, when they were over on the sidelines. He told them, up front, we have to take over. We aren't doing it. You know why they're throwing the ball all over the place? Because we're not getting any pressure. Finish. You're fresher than this.
Royster is fresh right here on a cutback. Royster inside the 10 and down near the 7.
I love the call. He's been quiet. You know, they've been throwing more than running. And Evan Royster, again, he's not real flashy, just kind of blends in. A little misdirection play. Watch him read it. Cut back to the opposite side. Gets a nice block from Potee. And Penn State inside the 10-yard line.
They'll spot it at the 6, in fact, where it's 1st and goal.
Here's the one thing, though. I've seen 3 bobbled snaps between Wisniewski and Darrell Clark, and down around the goal line is where that becomes even more of an issue.
Corliss in motion on 1st and goal. Green runs flat to the front of that LSU defense, trying to bounce back and cut it outside, but he loses a yard. Pep Livingston made the stop, number 95.
I make that point about the snaps. Again, this is Wisniewski's first season as the center, but he's got a whole year under his belt as the center.
Right.
But when you're down around the goal line, especially if you have to make a reach block, meaning you have to snap the ball and reach wide for a defensive lineman, sometimes that snap comes up a little short. So it's very important that the quarterback rides the center, keeps his hands in there a hair longer to make sure the snap.
Wallace is set up on the left, Moore down to the right. Here's a pitch inside, and it's an incomplete pass. Little inside shovel, and that didn't work. It was trying to get it to Curtis Drake.
Now, a little too cute.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Evan Royster gets you down in there.
Yeah.
He comes out. You put Stephon Green in. He gets stuffed, and then you get a little cutesy on the 2nd down play. And now it's a tough play. Now it's 3rd down, and you don't have a lot of field to work with on the 7-yard line.
If you're going to throw a fade, Moore is your best shot. Because as Todd said earlier, he's 6'5". He's up to the top of your screen, matched up against Peterson. 3rd and goal, Penn State. Clark over the middle to a diving Curtis Drake. Flags down. And Drake, I think, is about a foot shy of the goal line.
Well, the formation really created a problem for LSU because Jacob Cutrera, the middle linebacker, ended up having to cover a wide receiver, Drake, on that play. And I think that's where the penalty was.
It's a holding call against LSU.
See, Penn State shifted late to that formation and put Curtis Drake out into a slot, and it forced coverage by Jacob Cutrera.
Holding, number 54 on the defense, against an eligible receiver. That is half the distance to the goal and an automatic 1st down.
The automatic 1st down. They go half the distance. They won't take the catch because they want the 1st down, obviously. That was 3rd and goal.
Watch the shift. Now here's Drake, and Cutrera, number 54, is going to grab him as he runs by. Wasn't a lot, but enough to draw the flag.
So it's just outside the 3-yard line for Penn State, 1st and goal. LSU fans trying to come to life for their defense. Royster is back in there at tailback. Well, they're going to talk to the folks upstairs, maybe about if they have the spot in the right spot. If it was half the distance, as I recall, the play was 3rd and goal at the 7. That puts it at the 3.5. So I think they got it right about where they want it, but maybe that's not what they're talking about. So the official review, we're assuming, is about the spot of the football, I guess.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Now Darrell Clark comes back out with the offense. Schuler, the extra tight end.
Now Evan Royster, 6 touchdown carries on the season. Your go-to back here.
Got Suey in there with him as the lead blocker, and that's where they go, and Royster is not going to get there. Nice job. Chad Jones is the ball out. That might be even bigger. Chad Jones made the hit that stopped Royster. And now they'll have to unpile bodies.
The irony of that, before the play, before they were reviewing, I saw Royster in the huddle wiping off his hands, drying his hands, making sure that he was going to be able to grip the football. And it was a big hit, I think, by Chad Jones that might have jarred it loose.
Penn State's got it.
Penn State has benefited. Every time they've dropped the ball, they've got it back. Yeah. And they've dropped it, whether it be a snap or on that play, a fumble by Royster, 4 or 5 times here this first half. Here's the hit by Chad Jones, and the ball definitely comes out. There it is laying on the ground. And a heads-up play by Johnny Troutman, number 74, to recover it.
So Penn State got about 2 feet on that play and luckily kept the football.
4 fumbles for Penn State.
Second and goal at the 3. And now the ball is out again. Another bad snap. Daryl Clark is saying,
now this has got to be offsides on LSU. There is a flag down. They hit the center before the ball was snapped, and the snap never came up. You see Stefan Wisniewski, the center, right in here, say, wait a minute. That has to be a penalty.
You got to let me snap it.
I like LSU's thinking, though, because there's been a problem with the quarterback-center exchange. So you want to time it up, but they were just a hair early, and the ball hadn't even been snapped yet.
We've seen a little bit of everything in this first half.
Charles Alexander lined up right over the center and was going to just try to create havoc, but you got to wait till that ball moves first.
Second and goal just inside the 2. Now Suey in front of Royster in an eye backfield. It's Suey, their first man. He got maybe to the 1. Harry Riley made first contact. Third and goal, Penn State.
And you got a clock now that is under a minute and running. Penn State has 2 timeouts left, so they don't have to panic, but they do have to be aware of the clock situation.
Busiest guy in the stadium is the guy that's drying footballs off down there and then throwing a fresh one in every play.
I don't know why they're letting the clock go down to call timeout. I don't understand this. There's a player for Penn State right over here that's going to call timeout when the clock gets to a certain place, I think. But I don't know why they're letting it run all the way down.
They'll stop it right now. With about 12 seconds. Well, it's down to 10. They might even reset the clock a little bit when we come back. Coming up, halftime report. John and Jesse will be out at the Rose Bowl. Right now, we got 14 seconds. They did put 4 seconds back on the clock from when we took that quick timeout because the game clock here in the stadium had run down after they had called the timeout. Now it's third and goal time, 1-yard line.
Well, they'll take one shot at it here. If they don't make it, they still have the last timeout to bring their field goal team on. Not sure why they wanted to run it down to 14 seconds, but they'll take a shot at it. But if they don't make it, they've got to use that timeout right away to set up the field goal.
Well, they've got a 3-wide receiver set and Corliss and Clark in the shotgun.
Corliss is right here in the slot, number 10, going in motion.
Unless it's a quarterback draw, we're probably going to see a pass. Clark lobs it. Knocked down. Royster almost caught it after it was knocked down by Brandon Taylor.
Well, credit the LSU defense.
Yep.
You know, they gave up the play early. They had the penalty. They had the holding. They gave them an automatic first down, and then they got serious and forced a field goal attempt. A touchdown here would have been really costly for LSU.
Now Colin Wagner comes out. He hit a field goal earlier in the game of 26. This one is just going to be actually shorter than an extra point. An 18-yard field goal attempt. Kind of a tight spot. It's so close to the goal line.
Timeout, LSU.
Well, LSU's got 3 of them, so, I mean, I guess you're figuring why take him in the locker room with me?
I guess.
Go ahead and freeze out the kicker a little bit if I can.
I don't know if you freeze the kicker, you might mud him out.
That's right.
Get him thinking about
Get a little more water in his shoe. Make him think about that spot a little bit more.
Yeah, that's
kickers
exactly right.
do that.
Well, the Rose Bowl is coming up. Ohio State and Oregon. 4:30 Eastern Time coverage begins right here on ABC. Ohio State, one of two teams that beat this Penn State team that we're seeing today. What do you think about that one?
Well, it's one of those classic battles of strength on strength. Oregon's offense and the Ohio State defense. I mean, that's what's carried these two teams during the course of the year. It's a great matchup. A lot of times when you have a game like that where it's one is real strong the other against the other, it's what happens the other side of the ball.
Right.
You know, when Ohio State has the football and Terrell Pryor's running the show and the Oregon defense, a lot of times that might determine the game. I really think it'll come down to who wins that battle when Ohio State has the ball and when Oregon's on defense.
And when you think about how the season started for Oregon, what a job Chip Kelly did to get him to the granddaddy of Maul. 18-yard field goal attempt by Wagner. And it's up and good. So about 4 seconds remaining now in the half. And they should be, Wagner that is, able to squib one down through the divots that will end our half. LSU, the problem they've had in the games they lost, mustering enough offense. That's what they've got working here today. They won their first 5 games of the year, but then key losses to the two teams we mentioned that are in BCS bowl games, Florida and Alabama. And then there was that debacle against Ole Miss where they mishandled the final couple of plays of the ball game, and then we saw them rebound to win in overtime against Arkansas in the final regular season game. So 10th consecutive 8 wins or more seasons, and you take a look at their results. So there are the losses: 13-3, 24-15, and 25-23. And right now they only have 3.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get any more before halftime unless something really strange happens on this kickoff.
The good news, though, for Les Miles and Jordan Jefferson is they're only down 10.
Yeah.
Their defense really saved them right there. They've just got to go in and figure out some things that can work for them offensively. They've got great wide receivers, and they're protecting Jefferson fairly decently, but he's got to make some throws. It's going to come down to him making some throws in the second half.
They did kick it down to where Brooks can return it, and Brooks keeps his balance and goes out to about the 39-yard line to end the first half of the 64th Capital One Bowl. And the Nittany Lions of Penn State, solid performance by Darryl Clark, their quarterback, threw a touchdown pass, led the 2 field goal drives. It'll be up to young Jordan Jefferson now. Get in their locker room at halftime, talk things over with Gary Croton and the offensive coaches for LSU, and as Todd said, come up with some kind of game plan to try to get some offense going in the second half. Let's go down to Eric.
Let's go. We're going, Coach. All right. Hey, Coach, Darryl Clark, visibly upset when he came over to the sideline. What'd you tell him?
Well, we had a difference opinion on what we wanted to do, and, you know, we didn't get the right one in.
What do you think of this field right now?
Well, it's not very good, but what can we do about it?
Can't do anything.
It's for both sides.
Absolutely it is. Hey, your defense playing top-notch right now. What's been key for them in stopping LSU all day?
Well, I think we're a pretty good defensive football team, and we've had good field position. We haven't let them do a lot with their kicking game, which ordinarily they do. That's been a big part of the trying to keep them where they had to make good, big drives. But we've stayed away from penalties, and we're doing all right.
All right, Coach, thanks. And we're in the middle of the band right now, guys. Back to you.
That's the only thing Joe hasn't done in 60 years on staff. Lead the band with Aaron in the background. Halftime, 13-3, as we said. Our halftime report with John Saunders and Jesse Palmer, fellas.
This is ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
14-3 at halftime of the Capital One Bowl here in Orlando. Nittany Lions of Penn State out front, just about set to start the third quarter as we welcome you back, everybody. Brad Nessler and Todd Blackledge. Aaron will join us down on the field in a minute. If you look at the field conditions, we talked about them so much in the first half, and they had a halftime performance that you saw part of as well. And they also had a lot of guys out there trying to map that thing down a little bit. But right now for LSU, their play offensively has been as sloppy as the field is.
Yeah, I mean, they did nothing. I mean, they gained 69 yards. 54 of that came on 2 plays, 2 completions to LaFell, 2 first downs the entire first half. The good news is they're only down 10,
right.
and they get the ball first, and there are some holes in the Penn State defense. Jordan Jefferson just has to be accurate throwing the football. They really didn't have any kind of a running game going, but with his receivers and the zone defense that Penn State plays, there are places to throw the football, but you have to execute. They're not going to give you easy big plays. They're going to make you throw accurately and move the ball down the field.
They will get the football first to start the third quarter. Colin Wagner, who had a couple of first-half field goals, will tee it up. Trendon Holiday and Ron Brooks will wait down on the other end. And if nothing else, it looks like Trendon at least put clean socks on at halftime.
Clean and dry.
Clean and dry, because they're really white. They look great. And here we go. He's going to get his hands on it with those clean socks at the 12-yard line. Almost trips, shows his speed, sideline, Holiday, all the way out to the 48-yard line.
And you know what that proves?
Clean socks. You should always have clean socks and clean underwear.
That and dry feet are happy feet.
Pacific Life game summary. There's the yardage, and Ledge was talking about it. Most of it came on 2 plays to LaFell. For Penn State, just pretty solid. Darrell Clark had a pretty good first half. Didn't make any mistakes. And some bad exchanges from centers about the only problems that Penn State has had, because when they drop the ball, they've gotten it back, and that's been vital. Winning the turnover battle, Penn State is right now. Here's Jefferson. Quick throw out to LaFell. Down to the 47-yard line. Morris made the stop.
See, those are throws that Jefferson just has to be accurate with. Because if you get those guys out in space and Penn State misses a tackle, then that 5-yard gain becomes a 15 or 20-yard gain. But the key is being accurate with the football.
Penn State was stingy all year long to the opposition. And you see, only allowing 5 first-half touchdowns. So they took that right into the bowl season. Throw to LaFell the other way. Same play, different side of the field, and this time he's got a first down. So just like that, LSU comes out, gets a nifty kick return from Trendon Holiday, and then back-to-back passes to number 1.
Right. Now Jordan Jefferson goes from being 4 and 11 in the first half to start the second half 2 for 2. And so right away you get him involved, you get him feeling a little bit better about what he's doing out there offensively.
First down for LSU since the final minute of the first quarter. And they've got it at the 40-yard line of the Nittany Lions. Trendon Holiday, inside handoff. Broke 1 tackle, won't break the second one. Picked up 3 or 4 of those. We check in with Aaron.
Hey, Brad, I checked in with head coach Les Miles coming out of the half, and he just said consistency. That's all he wants to see out of this offense right now. He said, let's hand it off once in a while, maybe complete a pass. I asked him, do they have the field conditions in their head way too much? And he said, no, we don't have it in our head. He believes his team is working their tail off. But he just said, I'd like to see a little bit of consistency now.
So far, Penn State's got the tiger by the tail so far. But on this drive, LSU looking pretty good. Here's Ridley, the big back, and he takes it down to the 33-yard line. You might have noticed that in the first half, Aaron had on rain gear. She's gone to the big coat. It dropped about 10 degrees since kickoff. I swear, it is colder outside. So,
well, dry socks for Holiday, dry warmer coat for
Aaron. Yeah, that's good. They're down at 3.
Next time we see her, she might have earmuffs on and mittens.
This will be a big third-down pickup for LSU to open up the third quarter. They fake the pass, come back to the draw.
Jared Odrick didn't go for that fake. I'm not sure. Actually, it wasn't Odrick. It was Crawford, the end, who crashed down. I got 81 and 91 mixed up, but great play by Crawford. Watch the fake by Jefferson. I'm not sure what that is, but Crawford was having none of it.
And so what LSU had going has stopped.
See, the run is not there for LSU.
No, it's not.
You got to keep them honest, but I think you throw the ball, and if anybody runs right now, it's Jordan Jefferson when it's not there and you scramble.
Fourth down at the 35. Les wouldn't fake a punt here. He's trying to push it up to the corner. And caught. Perfect. That was beautiful.
Well done.
That is as good as you can do it. Ron Brooks on the other end. He basically could have fair caught that if he chose to. Perfect placement. Darryl Clark in a hole when we come back.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Welcome back to the 64th Capital One Bowl in Orlando. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Aaron Andrews, and our crew on a soggy day. This was during the break. Capital One $20,000 check to the mascot of the year, the Bearcat from the University of Cincinnati. Congratulations. Bearcats had a big win in hoops the other day over UConn, and of course they got a big football game coming up in the Sugar Bowl. Penn State. This is not where they wanted to start a drive with Evan Royster about 7 yards deep in the end zone. They go straight ahead with Suey, the fullback. And Suey gets it out to about the 5. Gives him a little more room to work. You know, we talked earlier about the problems Wisniewski and Darryl Clark have had with the exchange. When you get it down in that spot on the field, if you're LSU, you want to maybe make a play for it.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if John Chavis and Brick Haley, the defensive line coach, said, hey, look, when you get over the nose and over that center and you anticipate that snap count, if you think you've got it, go ahead and hit that guy. Because they've shown a little bit of a tendency to be a little sloppy with that exchange in the first half.
Second down and 6. Royster had to take this one a little wider. They only got about 2. Al Woods got over there from the defensive tackle position to make the stop. A 2-yard pickup as we take a look at our DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam.
Well, right now, this front 7 kind of lock it in here. They've got Penn State backed up. They want to try to get them out on a 3 and out and get their offense the ball with really good field position. Right now, 3rd down and about 4. This LSU defense hoping to get a good stop for their offense.
And if you're Penn State, you want to get that first down, but don't make a mistake down inside your own 10. Might be a blitz coming off the corner. They'll back away from it. Clark rolls to throw. Got a blocker in front of him. It's a big hit, but he got a first down. He's kind of directing traffic out there, trying to get somebody between him and the guy that was going to hit him. And on 3rd and 4, he got 6.
He did get a shot at the end of that play. Again, we haven't seen Darryl Clark run as much this year as last year, but it's his last ball game. And this is a good decision to run. And Kelvin Shepard made him pay for it at the end of the run, but it was an all-important first down for Darryl Clark.
So now Penn State's moved it out to the 14-yard line. They've got a 10-point lead with 10 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. It's about 5. Nevis made the tackle. LSU's defense has been out there a bunch today, too. There's the leader, number 11. Kelvin Shepard, the defensive captain, junior out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. He and Perry Riley, the other linebacker, been playing football together since they were about 8 years old in Georgia. Second down and 6. They keep it on the ground. Royster slipped away. Got a first down. Again, nifty run. Nothing that flashy, but he picks up the first down and moves the sticks one more time. Well, it became a worldwide phenomenon. ABC's lost. It's in the final season now. The premiere event begins Tuesday, February 2nd at 8/7 Central. It's the beginning of the end. The final season, all the answers are coming. That's my favorite show, so I'll be tuned into that one. I'm not doing a basketball game. Probably will be.
Devo.
Yeah, that's it. First down, Penn State. Well, this has been pretty impressive just to get to this point. They started this thing inside their 2-yard line after that great punt by LSU, and now they're out to the 25. 5 straight running plays. Make it 6, and it's an opener for Green, who got into the second level and picked up 11 more. So now the Penn State that you're used to seeing, or at least what you think you're used to seeing, ball control and a good running game, and it's working.
Yeah, watch the center. Stefan Wisniewski, number 61, gets a great block on Drake Nevis, opens up the inside, and Stephon Green with a nice run.
You know, Green and Royster kind of almost alternating plays here. That seems to be working for him. Royster back in there now. Out to the 37. You see Stephon Green drying his hands off over on the sideline. It'll be Royster's turn if they decide to run again. And they do. And flags are down. Looked like there was a little bit of movement before that snap. Let's see if it's on maybe Charles Alexander, the defensive tackle.
Offside, 24 on the defense, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
Eric Coleman, Todd talked about kind of a outside linebacker, but more the size of a safety, and he's been cheating up there thinking about blitzing on nearly every play, and that time he jumped in a little bit too early.
Well, they're trying to get an extra guy around the line of scrimmage with this Penn State run. You mentioned they started inside their own 3-yard line. They've run every play all the way out here to the 42-yard line.
It's the 7th penalty against LSU. Penn State has not been penalized. Clark in the shotgun. Fires wide side of the field, complete to Derek Moore. Another first down at midfield in front of Patrick Peterson.
Boy, this is the way you want to come out of the locker room if you're Penn State. You get a stop from your defense. Your offense gets the football and just methodically starts to move it down the field. And each play, you take a little more steam out of that LSU defense.
Methodically is the right word. And I remember John Chavis talking to us, Todd, said, you know, they're like a machine. When they get things working and have it going their way, they're just so consistent sometimes in what they do. Right now, he's seeing that consistency on the other side of the field because Penn State's moved it. 8th play of the drive now out to midfield. Green. Moving down to the 46-yard line.
Tackled by McCray.
And as you see, Green goes out, slaps Royster's hands as they pass each other on the way to the huddle. And it's Royster's turn. So musical tailbacks right now for Penn State, and it is working beautifully.
Keep those guys fresh. Keep your offensive linemen excited because they love to run the football.
Suey in there in front of Royster. He'll be the lead blocker. Royster weaves his way inside the 44 down to the 43. We talked about Evan Royster the other day. It's hard to get 2 words out of Royster. Yeah. He's a very quiet guy, and when we were talking to Jared Odrick later, I said he's like the quiet assassin. And he said, is that his new nickname? I hadn't heard that. I said, no, I just made that up just now. But he's done a good job, and over his career, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he just passed Lydell Mitchell in this game. And I told him yesterday, you pass Lydell Mitchell, that's pretty good company, son.
Yes, sir. Big names on that list.
3rd down and 3. Clark, screen pass in the middle to Green. Going to be a little bit short. Delvin Shepard held his ground in the middle linebacker position to make the hit. Looks like it's going to be 4th and 1.
Shepard making the stop.
And they're going to punt.
Brings up 4th down.
That was a nice play by Shepard because it looked like Stephon Green was going to turn that into a big play, not just a first down.
That was a 57-yard movement of drive, though. Penn State, they chewed up a bunch of clock.
And they flipped the field completely.
Yep.
If Boone can knock one inside the 10 and not into the end zone.
Yeah, he's had 3 of them in the end zone so far. And there's number 4.
That doesn't do you any good.
Nope, you do all that work, and you only gain about 21 yards on the exchange. 5:04, 3rd quarter.
ESPN's coverage of the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Cisco. Welcome to the Human Network. And G, I live, I ride, I am G.
LSU trying to get something going offensively. It looked like the Rockettes, though, in 2 of the last drives. 1-2-3 kick, 1-2-3 kick, and then an interception, then a punt.
And look at that. Only in those drives, 12 plays. I mean, Penn State has run 22 more offensive plays than LSU in the ball game. LSU just can't hang on to it.
Jefferson's going to throw it as far as he can and hope that Tolliver can catch it right between his hands.
Pass intended for Terrence Tolliver, incomplete.
They had a shot at this. This looked like it was a pretty good throw because Tolliver cut in front of Nick Suke, the strong safety, and had a shot at the football.
I tell you what, you take Brandon LaFell out of the mix today, and it's not going to be a highlight reel tape for the LSU receivers today.
Yeah, that's got to be a catch. I mean, you got an offense that's struggling. You get a shot to make a huge play. You got to come down with the football.
2nd down and 10. They haven't been able to get anything going on the ground, and they won't get much there. Ridley is out. Penn State's got it. At the 20-yard line. I think it's going to be Sean Lee.
Yeah, I think Navarro Bowman knocked it out. The guy who came there with the hit, and his counterpart, Sean Lee, is the guy who comes up with the football.
There's Bowman putting his helmet in there. Ball comes out. Sean Lee says thank you very much.
There's Bowman and Ogbu, number 85. Ogbu's the guy actually that gets the ball out. And there it is right in front of Sean Lee, and he knows what to do with it.
So Penn State with an opportunity right here at the 20-yard line to really take control of this game.
LSU is challenging the ruling on the field, a fumble. Play is under further review.
So we'll see how that goes for Les Miles. Challenge on. Penn State in command if they can keep the football. You saw Les Miles going to the break talking to Ridley, the tailback. Might have been one of those situations where he asked his player whether he's down or not. He clearly wasn't, Ledge.
Yeah, no, that was a fumble all the way. I'm sure Ridley was hoping that he was down. And they just can't get it going. The guy walking with him to his right is Charles Scott, who was their main back before he suffered the broken clavicle in the Alabama game, and he was a great player. And you mentioned it early in the game. Charles Scott went down. Richard Murphy went down. Keelan Williams went down, and now Ridley is the guy.
Here, Royster, you can see him wrapping both hands around the football.
And Brad, just to add on Charles Scott, he's kind of been Stephen Ridley's shadow all day long. And when Les Miles did ask him, you are right, Todd, if you fumble, and he came back and said, no, I didn't. Obviously, you saw the challenge. Charles Scott knew right away that he had. He instantly went over to Ridley and just said, come on, you got to pick your head up. And that's what they're doing right now in this little huddle, because Ridley is down.
No doubt, a great shot of it on the sidelines.
Well, they have nowhere else to go either.
That's right.
I mean, they've got a lot of
Holiday's their only other option.
Yeah, and he's not a tailback, true tailback.
Clark lofts it to the corner and throws it away. Evan Royster was the intended receiver. He was double covered out there anyway.
I'll tell you what, the sudden change defense for LSU has been pretty good today. And when they've been backed up, they've been good. Penn State, they had 3 drives. This is their 4th drive starting in LSU territory in the ballgame. They've only come away with 3 points in those drives. So here's the last one now. It's 3rd and 10. And LSU kind of in a pretty good position defensively at 3rd and 10.
3 wideouts for Daryl Clark. LSU shifts on their front wall. They're going to bring an extra man. Clark fires incomplete. It's a first down to Chaz Powell. Inside the 10.
A little surprised how much cushion Patrick Peterson gave Chaz Powell on that play. It was a blitz. It was single coverage. Watch number 7 just kind of play soft on the outside. He never closes on this play until it's too late. And that's kind of against his nature. He's more of an aggressive player, and that time he played a little conservative, and Penn State easily picked up the first down.
No, the Nittany Lions with a 1st and goal. 4th different receiver that Daryl Clark's hit on a 3rd down situation today. So he's doing a good job of mixing it up and spreading it around. Clark, that one never had a chance. Threw it right to the ground. Curtis Drake was the closest guy. That one might have just plain slipped out of Clark's hand. See Mike McQuarrie sending in the signal and then voicing it as well. Sometimes those hand signals, you get that puzzled look on the quarterback's face, and you just yell at him.
Right.
Sort of like the old-fashioned version of having the receiver in your helmet. Second and goal. Royster stumbled a little bit, but he still got down near the 3.
Mentioned Royster. It was hard to get a couple words out of him. The only time he did kind of light up was when we brought up his lacrosse background. Right. Loved playing lacrosse when he was in high school back in Fairfax, Virginia. Really felt it helped him as a football player with his lateral movement, his vision, just staying in shape year-round.
The 7th Nittany Lion to record multiple 1,000-yard seasons. He trots out as a receiver in this case. To the top of your screen. 3rd down and goal. Clark throws intended for Royster. Broken up by Brandon Taylor.
See, now that is not a mismatch because that's a tailback who usually is lined up in the backfield running against a safety, Brandon Taylor. So that's kind of an even trade. Safety on running back. And Darrell Clark's trying to hit him on the slant route, and Taylor makes a nice play on the football.
And considering LSU fumbled and the recovery at the 20-yard line, here they are holding again to a Wagner field goal attempt.
So that's 4 drives starting in LSU territory and possibly only 6 points to show for it.
Wagner 2 for 2, 3 for 3. Knocks it through from 20 yards this time. Extends the lead, but it could have been more damaging after the fumble by Ridley. Welcome back to the Capital One Bowl. Some of the shots, our DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam of this 64th Capital One Bowl. A lot of drop passes. Not a good look for the LSU receivers. In that case, A.J. Wallace with an interception for the Nittany Lions.
You know, when you talk about accuracy for a quarterback, and this might be surprising to somebody, accuracy has more to do with your feet than it does your arm as a quarterback. You've got to get your body in the right position. You've got to have good balance and good footwork. And on a field like this, it becomes even more critical. Jordan Jefferson has got to get it figured out.
Well, LSU's going to have good field position again. Ace Foyle, I'm talking about one of the extreme up men, fielded that one and looked like a fullback getting it into Penn State territory. So good spot to start for Jordan Jefferson. Let's see if they can do something with it. Still just, 2 scores down.
That's right.
But
and 2 scores. I mean, there's a whole quarter to play after these 2 minutes and 22 seconds. So LSU very much in this football game. But their quarterback is going to have to get on a little bit of a hot streak throwing the football.
Their one consistent guy has been LaFell when they can get him the ball. Go right back to the guy who fumbled, Ridley. And he picks up a yard before Roderick makes the stop.
This Penn State defense, their defensive front is really solid. And, of course, the linebackers, with Lee and Bowman and Josh Hall, 2 seniors and a junior in Bowman. They've not allowed a 100-yard rusher in 15 games.
Yeah.
So all of this season and part of last season.
Number 2 in the Big Ten in rushing defense, showing why today. Jefferson rifles this one down the middle, complete to Tolliver, and he's got a first down.
See, there are holes in this Penn State defense. Penn State's defense is primarily a zone defense. It's rush 3 or 4 and drop into zone and make you find holes and creases and then throw with accuracy. And then they tackle well on the back end.
That time, as you said, Ledge, not only came off play action, but he finally planted and he fired that baby. First down, LSU at the Penn State 32-yard line. This one, the swing pass to the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Richard Dixon, the tight end.
Jared Odrick was right in there on top of him. That was supposed to be kind of a wheel route with the tight end going up the sideline, but Jefferson had to throw it early.
False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remaining first down.
Wouldn't have mattered anyway, I guess. They've been trying to work on that with him. We saw improvement in the Arkansas game, him throwing that route compared to the previous week. He was having a little bit of trouble throwing that type of pass.
Again, it's all about footwork. It's getting your body in the right position to be accurate.
High snap this time. The throw is complete. Tolliver almost broke down to the first down marker. Hall tracked him down.
Well, that was a nice block by Alex Hurst, number 72, who got the key block. It was a quick throw, kind of a wide receiver screen, and Hurst had to get out there and get one block to spring him up the field, and he got it. Take a look at the right guard, Alex Hurst. Get out here and get a key block. Quick throw, you need one block, and there it is. On Sean Lee.
2nd and 2 now. Jefferson making sure everybody knows who has whom, because here comes Bowman, and he throws, and it's caught, and it's a touchdown.
Oh, what a nice job by Jordan Jefferson. I think that ball surprised LaFell, though. I think he looked up and it was there.
Yeah, it stuck to his hand. I said a couple minutes ago, he's been their most consistent guy. This is consistency for sure. Watch this catch.
Yeah, he just turned around. Whoop, there's the ball. Better catch it. But Jefferson recognized the pressure from Bowman, changed the protection, and threw a touch.
And gives us a ball game. With 13 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Impressive drive. Remember, it was a short kick. It was taken to the 48-yard line by one of the up guys on the kick return unit, and so they only had to go 48 yards, and that's what they did.
Jordan Jefferson knew that the pressure potentially was going to come from Bowman right here. So he makes sure, who's got 11? Make sure we pick up 11. And he points to him, says we got to get him, and then he gives a signal to the outside receivers. So they pick up Bowman, he's got a throwing lane, and he delivers a strike to LaFell for the touchdown. And you're right, 3 passes in this drive. He set his feet, he had good balance, he stepped into it, and he threw it the way he can.
Brandon LaFell showing why he's one of the better receivers in the Southeastern Conference, that's for sure. That one, 41 straight games with at least one catch. None bigger today for LSU than that one. 47-yard drive officially in 4 plays. 16-10. And so Darryl Clark knows his work's not done. Penn State's defense have been playing so well that the Nittany Lion offense could just sort of use clock and get field goals and be happy. Now they can't be.
No, and you know what? You never should settle for field goals instead of touchdowns, because that's what happens. A team is right back in the ballgame even though you've kind of dominated.
Chaz Powell from about the 12 weaves his way out of across the 30 to the 35. Nice return, 23 yards. Coming up Thursday, January 7th, ABC delivers number 1 against number 2 in the BCS National Championship game. Coach Saban's got his team ranked number 1. Matt Brown's is number 2. They're both perfect so far. BCS National Championship game on ABC. Thursday, January 7th, 8 o'clock Eastern time. That will be a dandy.
Yep. That was interesting. We asked Les Miles who this Penn State team reminded him of, and he mentioned Alabama. He thought because of their physical style of defense, the way they like to try to run the football, he thought they were most similar to Alabama of any team that they played this season.
First down, Penn State, their own 35. Almost a face mask there. And a pickup of 2 for Evan Royster. He talked about Royster just hanging on to the football, taking a shot to the head there, but Penn State hasn't turned it over, and that's helped the cause at the end of 3. 16-10. This presentation of the Capital One Bowl continues after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at the Capital One Bowl in Orlando, Florida. Set to start the fourth quarter. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, and Aaron Andrews. And you know what? What that touchdown drive of LSU's did to finally get some spark. Their defense is fired up. They've been jumping around, trying to get the crowd into it during the break. Now let's see if they can stop Penn State. 2nd down and 8 for the Nittany Lions from their own 37. Here comes the blitz on Clark. Throws, overshot Zug, the intended receiver. Peterson was covering.
Now that's more like the Patrick Peterson that I've seen this season. Right up in his face, stride for stride with Zug, and you have to make a perfect throw to get it in.
So now, if LSU can hold, they'll give the offense another chance. For Penn State, you wonder about number 10, Corliss, the tight end, who was so busy in the first half. He's lined up on the right side of that line with Clark in the shotgun. 3rd and 8. Clark slips, trying to plant his foot. Throws to Corliss. But he's brought down short of the first down.
And there's going to be a holding on Penn State back in the backfield. So if they refuse the penalty, it'll be 4th and short.
Holding, number 73 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 3rd down.
If you take the penalty, it'd be 3rd and very long. I don't think Penn State would go for it on 4th down from this spot. So it's just a matter of what John Chavis and Les Miles want to do. And it looks like they're going to move him back and make him play 3rd and very long.
Now Shepard's a defensive captain, and he just had words with the referee. That might not be the case.
LSU has elected to decline the penalty and will be 4th down at the spot of the pass completion.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State's not going to go for it here. That's a good call. Force the punt. Don't give them an extra down to try to make a play. Because you've got momentum right now if you're LSU. Your defense just got to stop. Your offense scored the last time they were on the field. Your crowd is getting energized again. And you got 14 minutes and 44 seconds left of football.
There's a guy with the dry socks and the happy feet waiting on the punt return from Boone. Boone blasted this one. Takes it at the 11. Trendon Holiday. Get it in the open field, and you can forget about it. He got it to the 50. Boone, the punter, saved a touchdown. 45-yard punt, but a 39-yard return. LSU's got something working on offense when we come back. Here's a replay of Trendon Holiday on the punt return. And if you saw maybe a little hand movement by him, as we thought about right there, any kind of hand movement is supposed to be considered a fair catch. In that case, to be honest with you, I think he was trying to get his balance and get stopped.
I agree, but I do think the Penn State coaches were asking about it during that timeout. They thought it was a fair catch signal. I agree with you. I think he was just trying to make sure he had balance, but that right hand was definitely doing something. And then the 2 feet did the rest.
I don't know if that was a breaststroke or the butterfly. He had something working there. At any rate, he stays in the backfield, and LSU has it at the 49-yard line, only down 6. Holiday on the handoff. Trendon Holiday. 10 more. And Aaron just told us during the timeout that he went back to the other spikes that we were talking about, right? The molded spikes that Todd and I showed you instead of the removable cleats. That's why he really does have clean socks and clean shoes, because he wanted to get some traction going side to side. First down at the 40. Jefferson, play action, quick slant. Terrence Tolliver. Again, it's not going to be the Terrence Tolliver show when he goes back and looks at this game.
Well, they've had a few drops
drops, and this guy's had a few drops. Now, he lost vision because it went right over the arm of Navarro Bowman. And when Bowman got in the way, Tolliver lost his focus on the football. But it was still a good throw by Jordan Jefferson.
Jefferson all alone in the LSU backfield. 2nd down and 10. Fires right back to the same guy, but it's no gain because of Sean Lee.
Yeah, what a nice play by Sean Lee. He came from the inside, and Tolliver felt that and tried to make a quick spin move outside. But Sean Lee was not fooled on the play. Watch Sean Lee get here and make the tackle. Comes from his outside linebacker position. He reads it, comes from inside out, and the spin move doesn't work because Sean Lee doesn't let go of the foot.
3rd down and 10. LSU's got 1 3rd down conversion all day. Jefferson running out of time. Throws, got a man out there, and he's got it. Tolliver to the 1. He held on to that one, didn't he?
Well, Jordan Jefferson shows his mobility. He gets away from Audric, and then he leaves the pocket, and Tolliver came from all the way over on the other side of the formation and ran the deep crossing route and caught the ball on the sideline.
39 yards to the 1, where it's 1st and goal for the Tigers. Ridley, the tailback in the eye. Now they shift. 3 tight ends set, overloaded to the left. They pitch it to Ridley, straight ahead. Touchdown. A game that was so in Penn State's control that you can't imagine.
Offside by the defense. Penalty decline. Touchdown.
And then LSU is an extra point from taking the lead.
Well, the difference between touchdowns and field goals. I mean, this is it right here. They go the late shift. They get an overload situation. A little confusion with Penn State. And then Ridley gets lower than Josh Hall and gets it into the end zone.
Josh Jasper in for a very important extra point. And it's good. LSU leads. 12:49 remaining in the ball game. And now Penn State's offense got its work cut out for them when we come back.
ESPN's coverage of the Capital One Bowl on ABC. Brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Taco Bell. Think outside the box. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com. And DirecTV. No one else has all your favorite channels in HD. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
14 unanswered LSU points. Don't forget the Rose Bowl. Ohio State and Oregon following us. Now it's LSU in front. Penn State with Chaz Powell on the kick return from the 10. And Powell pops it out across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Chaz Powell limping a little bit coming out after that kick return. Darrell Clark, 164 yards and a touchdown, but all of a sudden the hot hands, the guy on the right.
Well, this is what he's been the second half, 6 for 8. All right, he was 4 of 11 the first half. Had the interception in the first half. He has been outstanding here so far in the second half.
Now it's time for the co-MVP of the Big Ten to go to work. Number 17, the senior Darrell Clark. Royster found it open. Almost to the first down marker. He might have it, in fact.
So now it's an even ball game again for Penn State. The mistake Penn State made, or the failure Penn State had in this game, was not capitalizing when they had field position, when they had the ball in LSU's territory and couldn't score a touchdown. Well, now it's a one-point game. Right. So now it's back to square one, and you just got to find a way to move the ball and score.
12:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. 2 tight ends set for Penn State. Play action, look out, Darrell Clark. He got away somehow and got rid of it. I'm not quite sure how Dale did that, other than the fact that he's 232 pounds of muscle. It looked like LeVar Edwards had him.
Yeah.
And Edwards comes off hanging an arm.
Well, that's a big defensive end who hit a very big, strong quarterback. And he took the worst of it. Now, the LSU, there it is. The ball did cross the line of scrimmage, but Darryl Clark was not outside of the tackle box when he threw it. And so if there's no receiver there, it's intentional grounding.
17 on the offense. There was no receiver in the area. It was loss of down penalty. Second down.
Here's another look.
See, you can throw it away. If he gets outside of the tackle box, and again, how he got away from that hit and that sack is amazing in itself, but he just turned and threw it from the pocket, and there was no receiver on that side of the field.
So loss of down. And Les Miles is saying, make the call, make the call. He got the call. 2nd and 21 now. Wester weaving his way
There's the ball carrier to the right side.
Nice run. Flags are down. He got back to the original line of scrimmage, but again a penalty marker on the play. And it's against Penn State. And you know what's weird is they've gone the whole game without a penalty, and here's two big ones right in a row.
That's right.
46 minutes without a penalty. In fact, they only are giving about 33 penalty yards a game, which is one of the best in the country. But here, back-to-back flags have really cramped Penn State style a little bit. You can hear the folks behind us, the LSU fans, didn't have anything to cheer about for so long, and now they're into it.
Well, this is kind of an early start for LSU fans, too. They're not used to the 1 o'clock kickoff. They like those night games down in Tiger Stadium, so they're just now kind of rounding into shape, I think.
That's true. They're thinking that the tailgating's just starting now.
We have a correction on the down after the intentional grounding. That should have been a third down play. Holding is declined. It is now fourth down.
Whatever it was ugly for Penn State. It was going backwards. It was penalties. It was not doing anything to slow down this LSU momentum. And it's Boone punting to Holiday one more time.
I'm not sold on this one. I'm going with Pat McGrath, who never makes a mistake, our ace statistician. I still think it's third down.
The field is under further review.
I really do.
Oh, let's go back and take a look at it.
Joe doesn't like what's going on in the field. The field doesn't even like what's going on the field right now. The official review that's underway is about what down it is. We happen to think up here in the booth that it's third down and long because Evan Royster had rushed for a first down. The intentional grounding was against Darryl Clark on a first down play. And then there was another play run, and then all of a sudden they said they were going to change it to fourth down. So I'm either missing a down or... Joe is thinking what we're thinking, I'm pretty sure. Here's a call.
After further review, the intentional grounding was on a first down play, advancing the down to second down. There is now a hold on a third down running play, and we will disposition the penalty.
Here's Evan Royster's first down run.
They gave him a first down.
They gave him a first down.
So this is first and 10. Darryl Clark throws intentional grounding.
You can see the first down marker in the corner of your screen. Okay.
Which is a loss of down, so that moves it to second down.
Right, and then
was the next play the holding? If the next play was holding, then it would either be second down and really long.
Number 10, 10-yard penalty, replay second down.
There we go.
Okay,
second,
so we
very long.
We went from fourth to second.
Yeah, we lost 2 downs.
We lost 2 downs. I told you, I thought I had a down missing. People think I have a lot of things missing, but not downs. All right. Wow. So it's second down, and Penn State, their first down would be at the 47-yard line of LSU, should they be able to capture one somewhere in this sequence that we're going through.
Second down and State College to go. They're that far away.
Clark over the middle. Corliss, and he's got it to the 35. So they get some of it back. Now we got third down. Career high for Corliss, 7 catches.
Third and 18.
And that is tied in with Ted Qualick for career catches by a Penn State tight end. Pretty good company there, too. Third down and 18 now. Clark, plenty of time, throws to Corliss again. Now he is the Penn State tight end record holder, but short of the first down. And now we've got a legitimate, and I mean the real deal, fourth down.
Well, third down and very long. John Chavis dialed up a 3-man rush, drop 8, force the underneath throw, and get the football back.
Holiday back deep to
Remember
receive.
Trendon Holiday last time he touched it. Went 38 yards and almost broke it. Boone saved him from scoring a touchdown. He's not going to let him handle this one. He faked that he was going to pick it up, but it rolls down at about the 16-yard line. Coming up, ABC Thursday, January 21st. 5 of the nation's brightest young lawyers will discover the real world requires more than a degree. ABC's The Deep End, new series premiere Thursday, 21st of January, 8 o'clock, 7 Central on ABC. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackley, Jaron Andrews, and our crew in Orlando, where we've had great hospitality for the better part of a week. We were here for the Champ Sports Bowl prior to this 64th Capital One Bowl. We thank everybody for taking such good care of us down here. Bobbled snap. Throw is caught on a ricochet by Tolliver.
Yeah, Sean Lee thought he had an interception. I mean, he was in perfect position to make a play on the ball. He gets right in front of it, gets both hands on it, just can't make the catch. And Tolliver with another catch.
Terrence Tolliver heard us talking about this not being his highlight film day. Last couple catches have been. One of them got him down to the 1-yard line. That one picks up 8 yards. Ridley hitting the backfield and down he goes. Great penetration by Lee and Odrick.
Yeah, Odrick was back in there so quickly and forced Ridley to cut it back inside. This Penn State defense feeling a little heat after the last couple possessions. Odrick and Lee, excellent work, and Bowman to wrap up the tackle.
2 All-Big Ten performers. Sean's second teamer this year after the medical red shirt, not being able to play all the last season. Back out there playing at nearly 100%. And when he gets back to 100%, he'll be a great linebacker at the next level, too. Jefferson flushed out of the pocket. On the run. And the first down. Good job by Jefferson to get what he could get. And in this case, it's enough to move the sticks.
Well, what Jordan Jefferson wanted to do here was throw the swing pass. He wanted to hit his back coming out of the backfield, but watch the linebacker peel off and pick him up man-to-man. That made Jefferson have to decide, okay, I don't have that. Let me try to run for this first down. And he gets just enough to keep the ball alive for LSU.
Becoming a factor. It was in Penn State's favor until back-to-back touchdowns by LSU. Ridley again stops. Lattimore this time the first to hit him, along with Ali Agbu. So there's been very little ground game today for LSU.
Yeah, these two guys, Lattimore and Ogbu, the defensive tackle first, and then the defensive end coming over the top with the play.
Down to 8 minutes to play. Jefferson all alone in the LSU backfield again, drops to throw. Again, comes out of there with it. He'll run again. Tried to put the brakes on, and Navarro Bowman was going to make sure that he didn't release the brakes.
Well, the field made sure he didn't get the brakes. Watch his feet go out from under him when he tries to stop and change directions, and then Bowman was there to wrap him up.
This is how I play golf.
Third down and 6. They got to keep Jefferson in the pocket, though. He's made some harmful plays for Penn State when he's gotten outside of the contain on the rush.
Here comes the heat. He throws, almost picked off. Incomplete.
You know what? That was almost picked off by Astorino, but it was almost caught on the deflection again by Tolliver. I mean, the defensive players have not been able to hang on to the football. Watch, it goes through Astorino's hands, and Tolliver almost comes up with another deflected catch.
So you're saying the best offense could be a deflected defense? Not quite.
No.
Okay.
Just never give up on the ball, I guess is what I'm saying.
Healthy to kick. Fair catch by Justin Brown at about the 31-yard line. Penn State needs a field goal to lead. 6:54 remaining. Rose Bowl from Pasadena follows us. Buckeyes and the Ducks. Now the balance of this game is in the hands of Darryl Clark. Penn State needs a field goal to lead. They've got 7 minutes to work. Trailing by 1. Pass incomplete, intended for Moy. Peterson's a flag with a pass interference.
I mean, he's going to get the call, but that's a good throw by Darryl Clark. I'm surprised Moy didn't come down with that catch. You know, you're right. This is the kind of game Darryl wanted to be in.
Right.
I mean, he wanted it for Penn State.
Pass interference, number 7 on the defense. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
And I think he wants it for himself. You know, all this talk about his legacy and a signature win, and he hasn't beaten one of those teams, the real good teams. Well, this is it. It's all right there for him now. Well, I don't know. I mean, that should have been a catch to me by Derek Moore.
First down at the 40. Clark lobs it across the middle. Going to be another first down. Curtis Drake to the 49, maybe inside the 49 of LSU.
You got a lot of time if you're Darryl Clark. Take care of the football. Keep moving it. As you move towards field goal range, your kicker, Colin Wagner, has not been real good on the longer kicks. Only 4 of 10 on attempts from 30 yards or more this season. He's 3 for 3 today, but the longest was only 26 yards.
So they got some work left, but they've got plenty of time to work with. They've had the time all day long. Almost 12 minutes difference in time of possession. Now Clark will just carry it himself as he faked the handoff to Royster and took it to the 44.
Quarterback running the football, and that was a design quarterback run. It's just another guy you have to account for as a defense. And again, we've seen Darryl run it more today than we've seen much of this season.
Second down and 5, down to 5:45 to play. Royster runs into his own blocker and then tries to keep his balance and cut outside. Actually got a couple of yards, but it's going to bring up a third down and a big 3. LSU with a lead in the 4th quarter, but it's happened before this year at Alabama and at Ole Miss. And they ended up with 2 of their 3 losses this season. This is a lead of 1 right now. 17-16. Remember, Les Miles Miles is head coach at LSU, perfect 4-0 in bowl games. On the other side is the master of winning bowl games, Joe Paterno, looking for his 24th bowl victory. Big third down. Clark, two blockers in front of him, has to get rid of it, and he got it.
I think he's going to get the first down on forward progress. It's a late throw to Zug, and what Zug did a great job of was keeping his body between the football and his defender. Watch how long Darrell held on to this ball. He tried to throw it quick, it wasn't there. He extended the play, and then Zug just stayed between him and the defender and makes the catch.
You talk about a last split second throw. That was XY Zug. And it's first down. The 37. Green now takes Royster's spot in the backfield for Penn State. Clark again. This time throws behind. The first wave of defense to Zug again. 18 yards, first down.
A little bit of a play action, enough just to kind of hold the linebackers. Harry Coleman was the linebacker on that side, was sitting in there reading the run fake, and Darrell Clark threw it right over his head to Graham Zug.
And now Penn State's at the 20. Already in field goal range, you would normally say, but again,
I say go for a touchdown.
You've seen the field conditions, yeah.
Play aggressively for a touchdown here if you're Penn State.
It's Clark that'll carry it again. And Darrell got through. Darrell Clark. Oh, he almost busted that into the secondary. The secondary did, in fact, make the tackle at Chad Jones.
Another design quarterback run. Darrell Clark's your leader. He's a senior. He's carried you to this point. Keep the ball in his hands. Either throwing it or running it is not a bad philosophy right now for Galen Hall and Jay Paterno calling those plays.
I know he didn't have any time, but I'm not crazy about him carrying it in that hand with the helmet coming in the way it did. If I'm Galen Hall. Jordan Jefferson can only look on right now. His counterpart for Penn State is leading the drive with 3:20 remaining. 2nd and 7. Here comes a blitz. Up the middle of the run is Royster. Brandon Taylor made the tackle. Approaching will be under 3 minutes on the next snap.
For Penn State, this is their 4th red zone possession of the ball game. They settled for 3 field goals in their other 3 possessions. A field goal would put them up by 2 here, but a touchdown would be much better if you're Penn State.
3rd down and a very long 4. LSU almost jumps. Green with a handoff. Stephon Green with a first and goal. Penn State. The rotating quarterbacks, the rotating tailbacks rather, has worked throughout the game and works again.
Great block in there by Stefan Wisniewski, the center, and Dennis Landolf, the senior left tackle, pulled through and made a great block.
Royster and then Green. The timeout taken by LSU.
They fooled him on the run. LSU was thinking pass. Watch the block by the center and then the tackle. 73 Lando comes over here and leads up through. Excellent job of blocking at the point of attack by Penn State. They fooled him with the 3rd down run and easily picked up the first down.
So Green, the sophomore out of the Bronx. Evan Royster, the junior out of Virginia. New York and Virginia doing the work, but Darrell Clark out of Youngstown, Ohio is the guy that is running the show right now.
Yeah.
He's run the show for 2 years, 2-time first-team all-conference performer in Big Ten at quarterback, and that doesn't happen very often. No. And right now he's playing right.
Right, and this is where you want him to take charge. He's your leader, he's your veteran, he's the guy with the experience. He wants the ball in his hands, and the Penn State coaches want the ball in his hands. They have great confidence in Darrell Clark. And again, I think right now you're thinking aggressively, smart, but go for a touchdown.
Right.
Try to make it so LSU has to score a touchdown to stay in the ball game. Don't just settle and be conservative here for the field goal, because it's not a sure thing on a field like this. The snap, the hold, the plant, and the kick is not a sure thing.
On this drive, 3 for 3 for first downs. Now it's 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Penn State took over its own 31 with just under 7 minutes to go. They've had some big third down conversions so far on this drive. Royster hit immediately. He's going to be dropped for a loss. Al Woods, nice play by the big defensive tackle.
Yeah, really nice play. Good anticipation, good quickness off the ball, and stuffs him on the first down play.
LSU is going to take another timeout. And that's it, because remember, they lost one on a challenge earlier in the half. So they can't stop it again.
Well, Woods just got leverage underneath through Eliotti's, the right guard, and stood him up right at the line of scrimmage and then made that play.
So it's going to be 2nd down and goal, but it's closer to 10 yards now than 8.
Andrew Corliss was not in on that first down play. I would imagine he'll be in on this play. 2nd down and goal.
21st season that Penn State under Joe Paterno has had at least 10 victories. They're looking for number 11 right here. The Capital One Bowl. Joe pacing that sideline over there, as he's done for 679 games as an assistant and a head coach. Think of that. This is the 526th game he's coached as the head coach at Penn State. Of course, we've been through 9 presidents and about 850 coaching changes since Joe took over. Corliss, a career high, and as I mentioned to you earlier, all-time career leader for receptions by a tight end, having passed Ted Qualick today. 2nd and goal. Clark going to keep it again. Darryl Clark down to the 2, or at least close to the 2-yard line.
Keep the ball in Darryl Clark's hands. I think Darryl thought he was going to get in on that one. And it was a nice hole, a good executed play on the quarterback trap. Andrew Corliss was leading the way, number 10. They pulled a lineman in front of him, Johnny Troutman, and I think he thought he might get in, but when Chad Jones hits you, I mean, you go the other way.
Yeah, you do.
You don't fall forward on Chad Jones very often.
The 11th play of the Penn State drive. 1:40 remaining in the Capital One Bowl. Nittany Lions looking for a touchdown.
That's offsides.
Clark avoided a couple of guys.
That was another play where LSU tried to anticipate the snap count, I think, and tried to hit the center before the ball moved. They tried to disrupt the quarterback-center exchange. Unless there was movement by Penn State first. It looks like it's going to go against Penn State.
Chad Jones is looking at the coaches because
Illegal shift by the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
wow, that was a huge penalty.
Well, the only thing I thought, Corliss was going in motion, and he may have been moving towards the line of scrimmage. Boy, they hit that center. They timed it up.
Yeah,
That's why I thought it was offsides, because they came in there trying to bust up that play and did a great job with it.
So now it's 4th down, 4th and goal, and looking to that sideline to see what the decision is. And using.
Well, the timer, please reset the game. 24-second. Reset the 25-second play clock.
So we're going to add 3 seconds to the game clock. I've seen that played 50 times this year, not called though. So if that's what
I'm still wondering whether he was offsides before the ball was snapped. I mean, Charles Alexander just hit Stefan Wisniewski right in the nose.
Penn State.
So it comes down to the foot of the kicker on a field that does not have good footing. But this is basically an extra point. And it will still give LSU 50 seconds or so with which to work. And they're out of timeouts. You have to remember that part. We saw a pretty good field goal drive to beat Arkansas in the regular season finale with LSU. So they're capable. Capital One Bowl trophy. That's what they're playing for. For Penn State, looking for another bowl victory for Joe Paterno would be his 24th. For LSU, they were looking for a 10-win season, and it would give them 100 victories in this decade, which only Alabama and Florida, the SEC, have been able to accomplish. Colin Wagner, the drop 21-yard field goal. He's hit all 3 today. He's hit all 4 today. Clark led the drive. Wagner finished it off. The guy with the cleanest uniform has just gotten the biggest 3 points of the ball game. Darryl Clark couldn't stand to watch until everybody else on the sideline said good. 64th Capital One Bowl goes down to the last minutes. Penn State now has the lead back. Happy New Year, everybody. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Aaron Andrews, and our crew with you. Nittany Lions on a 65-yard drive in 12 plays. They used almost 6 minutes to get the field goal, the 4th of the day for Colin Wagner, and it's given them the lead.
They converted a couple key third-down plays. They forced LSU to burn their last 2 timeouts. Right now, if you're Penn State, they fooled around with some short kicks. I think they got to try to kick this as deep as possible and make LSU, with no timeouts, go the longest field they can make them go.
The only problem is, remember that the fastest man in college football is one of the 2 that's waiting on the kick if you do kick it deep. They do, and he'll handle it from the 15. Brendan Holiday. Holiday cuts outside. 35. Puts his head down and got to the 41-yard line. We talked about the Arkansas game that Todd and I and Aaron did near the end of the regular season, and Josh Jasper came through, the sophomore, in the clutch twice against Arkansas. Hit a game-time 41-yarder with 4 seconds left in regulation. The eventual game winner in overtime from 36. So that's the kicker that LSU wants to give a chance to.
And he's made his last 7 straight field goal attempts, so he's a kicker with a lot of confidence right now.
48 seconds to play. LSU on the timeouts. Jefferson coming out of the pocket. Got around the containment and got to the sideline and got the first down. Nice run. Navarro Bowman ran him out. Don't forget the Rose Bowl. Ohio State and Oregon following us. And we hope they have the kind of excitement, and I know they got a little better weather and a faster track. Right now, doesn't matter these 2 teams about the field. Both are digging in. First down at the 49. 5-receiver grouping for Jefferson. Throws left on a slip screen to the fell. He's to the 46, but that's it. Remember, they're on a timeout, so they got to hustle. Jefferson wants to down the ball, and they can't get the bodies, and now flags fly in. Back up. If this is against Penn State, this is huge.
After the play, personal foul, number 65 on the offense, 15-yard penalty, second down.
Even bigger if it's on LSU. And it was.
Well, Lyle Hitt is trying to get the guys off the pile so they can line up to spike the football, and he pulls Navarro Bowman off the pile. Bowman's got the ball. I don't think he's trying to do anything illegal. He's just trying to get lined up so they can spike the football, and it resulted in a penalty against LSU.
Boy, now it's a lot of ground to make up with 15 seconds left. Jefferson's going to have to hit. Jefferson's going to have to hit a big one. Hurry up. LSU is going to throw it deep. Tipped. Incomplete. And we're down to one play. Boy, shades of Ole Miss a little bit here.
Well, no timeouts. The clock running off valuable time. The penalty on Lyle Hitt was just devastating, though. Again, he was just trying to clear the pile so they could line up and spike the football to stop the clock. I don't necessarily think that has to be a personal foul penalty. But nonetheless, the last play of the ball game for LSU.
Brandon LaFell, the #1 receiver, is to the bottom of your screen, and a trip set there. Final play, the Capital One Bowl, barring a defensive penalty. Jefferson going to throw it. They got a hook and ladder. Nady set up. They tried to lateral it. And now the ball is out. Ruben Randall pitched it. It's over. Penn State wins it. Crazy ending. Happy quarterback on one side. You can see the emotion. And he's our Capital One player of the game. Darryl Clark closes out his Penn State career with a lot of records. But you can see he's fighting back tears right now. A happy bunch. A happy pride of Lions, as a matter of fact. As Joe Paterno, his team goes to 11-2. He wins his 24th bowl game and his 394th career game. And he and Les Miles have a smile out there at midfield when it's all over. Les Miles with a tremendous amount of respect, just telling us the other day he just loves Joe Paterno. And today he lost to him as Aaron's with the winning coach.
Well, Coach, just really quick, we had a shot of your quarterback, Darryl Clark, just fighting back tears. How much does this mean to him today?
Well, I've been trying to get people to understand how good he is. It's been pretty tough to find anybody east of the Mississippi that believe me. So I'm delighted. It was a good game, took the team back. He's a great, great young man.
Coach, thank you. Congratulations.
Final score, 19-17. That's going to wrap it up. Capital One Bowl champions, the Nittany Lions of Penn State. For Todd Blackley, Jaron Andrews, and our entire crew, Brad Nessler, thanks for being with us all year, everybody. Don't forget, it's Oregon and Ohio State in the granddaddy of them all coming up next. So long from Orlando.